Hey,
What's going on?
dude, what a week!
Been a crazy week.
It's been an okay week. It's been a great exclamation point on the end of a week today, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been fun in social media world.
Oh, it's been fun. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Well, today we were going to have a guest that had to cancel last minute due to some unforeseen circumstances. Probably by not liking us. I don't know.
Or it could be that you were wrong about your times.
That was part of it, but not all of it. Like that conversation happened prior to.
Sure.
But anyway, but in lieu of, we are still drinking Basil Hayden tonight. Basil Hayden's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. When Basil Hayden Sr. began distilling his smooth bourbon here in 1796, Kentucky was but 4 years old and George Washington was president. Today we make Basil Hayden's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey in the same skill and care that is made among Americans. Oh, right?
I'm into the music tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
Artfully aged in Kentucky hillside rack houses, then bottled at a smooth 80 proof. Basil Hayden's sophisticated taste remains true to the old recipe, with more rye than the traditional bourbon and its trademark spicy finish. All caps.
And you don't like it when I read the whole label.
That's why I'm doing it. So, let's pour a little bit of this. I'm a fan of Basil Hayden's. You've had it once, I think, at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while, though. You should try this with an open mind instead of being closed-minded about it like you usually are.
I am open to all liquor.
Yeah.
At least once. I tried
least
your
once.
fucking ouzo and your spoiled
There we go.
spoiled whatever the hell Japanese.
Yeah, the sake, that was bad.
Yeah.
And
That's
I knew it was
the worst
and
thing that the Japanese have ever done.
Dude, have you ever had like good sake though?
Maybe, I don't know. But that was the worst thing
No,
ever.
for sure. But the
and
thing is I knew it was bad.
I lived
but
through Pearl Harbor. So.
I knew it was bad, but I continued to push us to drink it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, again,
Cheers.
Cheers. I'll do just about anything with liquor.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's a good goddamn bourbon.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah. It's not quite to me because it does have a little more of the rye finish, the spicy taste. Don't like it as much. Belle Meade is still my favorite bourbon, pound for pound.
Yeah,
But,
mine, but that's not hard to do. It's not hard to be my favorite bourbon. I don't like bourbon most of the time.
But we'll, like I said, we were going to drink this in conjunction with the guys, and they couldn't make it out, but or out. We were going to Zoom them. They're in Texas.
They couldn't make it to the computer.
Couldn't make it to the computer. Well, okay. So he had some other shit that was going on with the business. They decided to put it off because of some issues there.
Sure.
But then after talking to Ian, he was going to come on just by himself to hang out.
Yep.
And then I found out I had miscommunicated with him regarding to the times. And so it would have been fucked up anyway. So basically I just saved us a pain in the balls by being a fuck up. So
yeah.
Right. So how was your week at work?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a normal week, maybe slightly better than normal, but it's fine. It didn't seem very long.
It's good.
But it wasn't very short.
My week was all right. I was flying solo for most of it. Drank a lot more at work than I usually do this week.
Flying solo at work?
Yeah, because it's usually me and one other dude.
Yeah,
and he was getting married on Saturday, so he was off on Wednesday through this coming Wednesday. So I had most of the week by myself, and wasn't too terrible. Considering I still don't know dick about 90% of what we do. I'm just getting competent enough that I can fuck things up. So that's good. But I also got fucking bitched at for a couple things that weren't necessarily my fault. But I'm a man, so I took it.
Are you a real man?
I'm a real man. Based on last week's podcast, no, I am not a real man.
Yeah. That's
yeah. It's been a fun day for me. Had some fun interactions on social media, which I'm off of the Facebook. I haven't been on that for a few years now.
right.
I have a private Instagram account, but I do have a Twitter account that I just tweet my hilarities from time to time. And I like to engage with certain people.
Right.
But one thing you've read a lot as far as compared to when I was younger to now, like I'm very rarely just an asshole. Like I'm an asshole in the sense of like I stay calm and I don't engage at the name calling while still pressing my point.
Sure.
Which pisses people off. But today was particularly good. The last one we talked about was the interaction I had with that lady on the right-wing Christian page.
Right.
When I told them I supported the BLM movement and I got called an anti-Semite. And so today marks the second day I've been called a racist on Twitter, but for a completely different reason.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was going to read the exchange. I'm not going to give out the guy's Twitter handle because I'm not a fucking cunt. Well, I am, but not, I'm not petty.
But you retweeted him, right?
No.
I thought you retweeted his
No.
initial tweet.
No, not the initial tweet. The one that followed up, which I'm going to read, I'm probably going to retweet. But he put a poll up and said, who are you voting for? Biden Harris, Trump Pence, or I'm not voting, I suck. It's the third. So, of course, I voted on the third one because I don't vote, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, since it's almost election season. Or it is election season, I guess. Fuck.
It is election season, yes.
And then he replied to his own tweet with a screenshot of Twitter doesn't let you see who voted in your poll. They just let you see the results of the poll.
Sure.
Because I guess he was wanting to weed out whatever followers, friends he had that might have supported Trump.
Sure.
Very liberal guy, which is fine. Doesn't bother me. And I just comment on that. LOL.
Was he liberal or is he left? There's a difference.
Well,
we're liberal. You and I are liberal.
Right.
We have things that we lean slightly right on.
I don't like any terms because I'm not political, and so I associate both of those.
It's liberal in your opinions on
right,
things.
but I still in my brain associate it just like most people do with a political party.
Sure.
Anyway, and I just said, LOL, I self-identify as the 3%, which was the only vote for I don't vote.
Right.
And I put a little laughy emoji with the tears. Mm-hmm. And he replied, seriously? That's so disappointing. And I just said, LOL.
You don't even know me enough to
And
be
I said, LOL, how so?
Grandma, is this you?
And then he immediately replied, that's some privileged ass white heteronormative male bullshit there, dude. Give a shit about those not like you that are persecuted by the current administration, POC, and the LBGTQIA plus community need you to vote for the protection of their communities and very existence in America, which I feel like is a little hyperbole right there, a little over the top. And I said, I respectfully disagree, but I understand what you're saying.
Sure.
It's not a lack of me caring for people or not lack of me caring about people. It's more of a lack of believing that any party actually cares about anyone.
Right.
I choose not to participate because I don't believe it matters, but I still respect people who do. Very, very kind response on my part, I thought. And then he replied, no, you're full of shit and lack empathy. Typical privileged fuck. No podcast interview for you. I don't deal with racist assholes.
What, did you ask to interview him?
This is the guy that was involved with the 5 Iron Frenzy Kickstarter that I talked about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I respect people that vote, but I choose not to, means I am a privileged fuck and I'm a racist asshole.
Nice.
And then I replied, fair enough, dude. I was trying to be respectful and have an honest conversation, but I feel like discussing differences in views I feel like discussing privileges and views is a good thing. My sincere apologies if I said anything directly offensive to you. Again, whatever. Doesn't reply to that one, but he immediately tweets out. Let me see if I'm not blocked yet. No, I am not. Immediately tweeted individually, privileged white male heteronormative asswipes who don't see the point of voting are exactly why America sucks so much right now for most of its citizens. Fuck them all.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, man. How awesome is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, like, I don't know. The fact that you even said, if I said anything that directly offended you, I apologize. Like,
I have a reason for that, though.
Sure.
And that's because it makes him look like a fucking cunt to most people. I guess if people believe like him, they don't. They probably still.
Sure, but are you sorry about anything you said?
If he felt like something was an attack, yes, because I would be willing to discuss that.
But wait a minute, being willing to discuss it and being sorry you said it aren't the same thing.
No, I wasn't saying I'm sorry. I said I apologize if something I said offended you. There's a difference.
I apologize and I'm sorry is the same thing.
No, I was saying I apologized if I offended you, not that I apologized for anything I said.
Well, yeah, but how can you apologize for offending him and still stand by what you said to him? Not stand by what you said, but like, to me, those two things are mutually exclusive.
Okay.
If you're saying I apologize if anything I said offended you, well, everything you said offended him,
right?
Because he's a pretentious,
little
cock. So,
right.
So you apologize for what you said. It's also a passive-aggressive thing that people say sometimes. So you either didn't mean it or you did.
Right.
And it's a different conversation.
Right. Well, it's more of have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and you know that you're right or they're right? You've never been in a conversation with somebody, but been at the point where it's like it's not going anywhere. So you know what? Sorry for it's more of it's in my brain is more of a I'm sorry if what I said offended you.
Sure.
I'm not changing my mind, obviously, and I guess it bothers me. To me, that's the dickish in me coming out. That was the little bit of passive aggressive assholery that came out in that, because to me, I just proved my own point that he's a fucking cock. But either way, like I'm not mad about it. I find it hilarious because I find that the more gracious and calm and kind you are in your arguments on social media, the more angry people get that disagree with you.
Sure.
So anyway, I would love him to call, but I also wanted to reply with the gif of the soup Nazi from inside, where he's like, "No podcast interview for you, like, no soup for you." I'm like, you're breaking my fucking heart, brother.
Yeah.
But that was the highlight of my day.
You should have replied. You're the second guest to cancel today, so you're really not doing much damage.
Right. Which I do think it's funny that the one part that you harped on of that whole thing was my very last sentence.
Yes, because you apologized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't apologize for that shit.
Okay.
Why say it if you're going to apologize for it?
I wasn't apologized for saying it.
If you offended him.
No.
Yes. I'm sorry.
If what I said offended you. I'm not sorry for what I said. I'm sorry if it offended you.
You can't be sorry for him being offended.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah. I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but it's still the fucking fact of the matter.
Yeah, but it's not your fault his feelings are hurt.
No.
So why are you sorry for it?
I just hate that it is.
Hating it and being sorry for it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is where I'm talking about you splitting fucking hairs.
But it's
and being
not
very
the
specific
same thing.
on words. Context, or I shouldn't say context, I'm sorry. Intent, not the literal words on the page, which you preach all the fucking time.
Okay.
Yeah. Fucking literal fucking asshole over here. Show me the numbers.
Don't say anything if you're going to say I apologize.
I didn't apologize for what I said.
Yeah, you did.
I apologize if what I said hurt his feelings.
Sure. And it did hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
So you apologized.
I'm sorry that I hurt his feelings. I'm not sorry for what I said. There's a distinct difference in the two things.
There's not, because what you said is what hurt his feelings.
Doesn't mean I'm sorry for what I said.
It doesn't matter.
It's the same thing that a lot of assholes do with their wives when they do something shitty and it hurts and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt."
Sure.
It's not I'm sorry for my actions, or I'm sorry if what I did hurt your feelings. That doesn't mean you're sorry for what you did. It's just you're sorry that they're hurt over what you did.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the difference. There's a huge difference in the two.
And that's why I try not to say what you just said. I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt.
Okay.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. The one thing you just like to fucking pop my bubble, man.
I think it was great, but then when you said I apologize if what I said hurt your feelings or however you worded it, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah. You apologized."
That's how you took it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how he took it.
Maybe not. He obviously didn't with the big follow up there at the end.
No. It just didn't change his mind about you.
It wasn't going to change his mind about me either way.
Yeah. So why say it?
Why not say it?
Because you're not sorry. It wasn't, I completely lost the word as soon as I was getting ready to say it. It wasn't sincere.
No.
So don't apologize if it's not sincere.
Why?
Because just double down on the shit.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, that's it.
Now, for me, the whole context behind it is because I've known people when you go through social media, and I've read different threads and how people reply. And again, nowadays, it may not make a difference. I just know how I interpret things.
Yep.
Reading through and seeing people that have responded that way, I'm like, oh, they're a way better person than that cockhead that's calling them names and shit. That's my entire rationale behind it. That when somebody reads that tweet or that exchange that may or may not agree with him, he comes across as the fucking dickhole. Sure. And I come across as this guy that was just trying to have an honest conversation. That's all it comes from.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. That's the entire, because I wasn't ribbing the guy to get him pissed off. Like I was legitimately trying to have some type of conversation about it.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of.
No, as soon as the name calling came out, then that's when I went to the passive aggressiveness. But, that was my motivation behind it. And I know that's not how you approach things, but you're a dick just for the sake of being a dick. I'm a dick for the sake of being funny. There's a big difference.
I have my specific things that determine whether someone deserves that or not. I'm not that way if my maybe all warped sense of justice did the same thing to me when I took a sip of my Coke. Odd. I have my own. We both do have our own sense of justice.
But for me though, it doesn't matter his response to me because I know what it's going to be.
Sure.
Like regardless of anything else that's said, and it's more of coming across as indifferent to his opinion entirely, not aggressive towards it, but indifferent the fact that he's a fucking cock. Like it doesn't acknowledge his assholery by me being a fucking cunt back. I enjoy that. Because to me, it feels like a victory. I enjoy relishing the fact that I know that he's super pissed off and I could be like, oh dude, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. Like that's how I enjoy it.
It just doesn't read that way in text.
Maybe not, but it's for me, not for everybody else. It's for me.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I've never had, I don't know, like certain people I have, and more when I was younger, but certain people I like poking the bear, right? And depending on my relationship with them, depends on how the more I know them, the more of an asshole I'm willing to be.
Sure.
Strangers, I tend not to be a fucking complete dick to them. I don't know why. It's different to me. Even though he was a complete fucking cunt about the whole fucking thing.
Right.
Like I'd never had this urge to like, oh, I'm going to show him by whatever, like, or keep pushing it. Like, oh, however, had it been, say, one of our friends' wives, like say like back when Jordan and Holly two were married, and I went on about the robot legs thing, right? Because I knew her, or at least knew through Jordan, it was way easier to just be a fucking cunt and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. I look at it differently. I don't know.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think less of you.
I know. There's very little I could do to make you think less of me.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, that made my night. Like I really enjoy being called racist when it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like the name calling thing, I just get great pleasure of knowing how upset this, like he was just seething at his fucking keyboard.
His blood pressure was through the roof.
Right. And I'm just replying back very calmly, like, oh, well, I see what you're saying, but I just disagree. Because have you ever tried to talk to somebody too that's super ignorant about something, and you're like, well, why do you think? They're like, well, just because. And just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it so much. So that was my big highlight for the week.
All right.
Oh, and it's scary movie season. The Haunting. We were talking about scary movies last time, but The Haunting of Bly Manor started today, which I haven't watched.
What is that?
Did you ever see The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix? It's fucking great. It was a great.
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a show, but it was like a 10-episode type of thing.
Everything on Netflix is 10 episodes.
But anyway, it was like a self-contained thing. And this is like the same producer, same actors, but it's not like a sequel. It's just like a separate incident, whatever. And I'm pretty stoked about it because the first one was awesome. Have you ever watched like American Horror Story?
No.
So they do the same thing. Like every season, they're completely unrelated, but they have the same cast that comes back through. And
I knew that, but I've never watched it.
First season of American Horror Story is fan-fucking-tastic.
I've heard it was.
Amanda and I tried to watch the second one, and some people said it was great. I think it's been fucking trash. So we're probably going to skip it and start the third. That's supposed to be pretty good, but it's just that time of year. I like the scary shows. Like the
so,
scary
Haunting
movies.
of Hill House. Give me a quick synopsis. Try to get me to watch it.
See, that's the challenging thing about the show, right? Is because giving too much synopsis gives a lot of it away.
Gotcha.
But it's essentially about a family that lived in this house at one point.
Their last name's Hill?
No, I don't think so. But anyway, they lived in the house, and they all had these horrible, like, haunting experiences, and they all have kind of repressed the memories, and they're getting back together, I believe because of a death in the family, and all this shit starts coming up, and they start remembering different things, and it kind of progresses.
Oh, so the whole show's flashbacks?
No.
Okay.
No. It deals with it in the present. There's a few flashbacks throughout, but that's not. Okay. It's not like Lost caliber flashbacks.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I know doesn't
Lost
sell you.
caliber doesn't tell me anything because I didn't.
I love Lost so much.
I am so glad I didn't watch Lost because the ending, from everyone I've ever talked to, said the ending was so disappointing. I'm so glad I didn't invest
I disagree with that synopsis. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And my argument is, it is the most Lost ending that you could have expected for the show. People are expecting this great finale, but there are so many unanswered things that happen throughout the show that they just never acknowledge, which became kind of part of what the show was. To wrap it up how they did was just kind of like and I was like, wow, that's par for the show right there. So I liked the ending because of it was a letdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah. So what else is going on? I've just been talking, man. I've been yammering on about my Twitter escapades.
So speaking of Twitter and social media, I had something to go over with you. It's similar to the article you read last week, but it's not quite.
Okay.
Maybe not at all. We'll see. But it's a BuzzFeed article, of course, so take that with
Do we need to hit the news?
No, it's not news.
Okay. Well, you know what they say, no news is good news.
That's right. 29 tweets about mansplaining that will make women say, well, actually, that's hilarious.
Oh,
yeah.
That is such a clever fucking title right off the bat.
Yeah, this is by Sumita. Sumita Barpilanya.
Okay.
All right. From BuzzFeed. And the first thing she says, which is not part of the list, but it says, I just saw someone refer to mansplaining as correctile dysfunction.
I actually kind of like that. Yeah. But I wouldn't apply that to mansplaining. I would apply that to anybody that does the, well, actually.
Now, this first one here, I'll give you. This is A+, like, comedy. Like, this really is a good one. I laughed when I read this.
Okay.
And it's a tweet.
That means it's probably not going to be funny.
It's a tweet by Ellen Kushner, comma, Happy in NYC. That's the whole Twitter name.
Okay.
Or not the Twitter name, but how her name's listed. It says, well, actually, it's only mansplaining if it comes from the mansplain region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling misogyny. That's good.
Okay, bravo.
Good. That's clever. That's good.
Clever.
I enjoyed that. Yes. This next one is from Trish. Men be like, I'm not mansplaining, and then mansplain to you what mansplaining is to prove that they aren't mansplaining.
Nice.
Number 3. Time to log. So there's a screen.
On that last tweet, though, like, if somebody is not mansplaining, but you think they are, how else are they supposed to explain that they're not mansplaining unless they mansplain it to you?
They get a woman to do it for them.
That's fair. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So this next one, there's a screenshot that says it looks as though that there was a conversation about Martin Luther King, and it says, please don't take an honest man and try to turn him into something that's not him. He believed in peaceful protest. You tarnish his legacy. And the person tweeting about this is Michael Aria. Time to log on to Twitter and mansplain Martin Luther King to his own daughter.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's a whole different topic of conversation.
Yeah.
It's like he also believed in debauchery and fucking orgies and shit, but you know.
Well, this next one, it's very unclear what it is, so I'm not even going to read it.
Okay.
This next one is an exchange that says mansplaining winner of the day. And this guy says to Julia Davis, I came to conclusion you have reposted the article without much background knowledge of nuclear devices testing and open skies treaty implications. To which she replied, I wrote the article. Bye now.
Bravo.
This next one is an article by The Guardian that someone commented on. It says, the article is Me and My Vulva, 100 Women Reveal All.
Oh, wow.
And Paul Bullen commented, the correct word is vagina. To which Ash Sarkar says, may Allah grant me the confidence of a dude trying to mansplain the correct terminology for pum-pum.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, there are some stupid motherfuckers out there as far as dudes go that feel the need to. There's this, what's that fucking Amanda was telling me about? Anyway, something the dude was talking about periods and shit, and not realizing that there's 2 holes down there, and thought there was just one. I'm not even fucking kidding. There are dudes.
Actually, there's 3 if you count the asshole.
Right. I'm just saying that there's dudes out there that I shit you not.
I know.
Believe that women do not have a separate pee hole and baby hole or fuck hole, depending on how crass you want to be with it. Like, it's all one thing. I've also heard dudes say that a period is a shitty excuse for whatever because they should just be able to hold it. Like pee. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. There are some idiots out there.
Yeah. I think it's more common than we like to
And on behalf of the rest of us men, please shut the fuck up.
Oh, my God.
So Margaret Atwood says, The Handmaid's Tale comes to life in Alabama. Women must heed the warning. She had reposted an article from The Guardian. Australian Beauty then says, I think you and I were watching different shows. This is better than the time that dude tried to mansplain space to a female astronaut. That was her response there.
Wow.
I'd probably rather be pushed in front of a tram than deal with period pain. And yet, here we are, 12 times a year. To which a guy replies, 365 divided by 28 equals 13 with a remainder of 1. That's 13 times a year.
Oh, my God.
In which she had said, I present to you a mansplain worthy of a place in the Louvre. Or Louvre, if you pronounce it the way they spell it.
Mm-hmm. That's how Americans would say it.
That's right. The Louvre.
The Louvre.
7 times a cycle, 9 periods a year, I'm howling. This man really tried so hard to sound smart without knowing a single thing. And she's talking about a guy says, so the average period is between 10 to 35 milliliters of blood. Each tampon holds about 5 milliliters, so 7 tampons per cycle. Let's be generous and say 10 for those ladies with an extra juicy uterine lining. 9 periods per year equals 90 tampons. This sounds like a guy just trying to be an asshole. Anyway,
yeah.
You can get a pack of 64 tampons on Amazon for $7.90 plus shipping. Buy 2 packs, save on shipping, and have 128 tampons for the year. That's about $20 here or there. He spelled there wrong. For a year's periods. Cut down on your Starbucks venti fraps and stop whining.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Which,
oh, God.
There's certain things in the world that have become this thing that if you're a man, you can't comment on this. Sure. If you're a woman, you can't comment on this. If you're straight, you can't comment on this. Whatever the case may be. But there's certain things that if you can think logically, I don't understand why it's so bad to have an opinion on it or saying it. If you can logically articulate what you're wanting to say. However, guys like that make the rest. That's why we are where we are. And one thing that, like, as far as having a say in women's period and what they spend and what they shouldn't spend on, like, feminine supplies is we need to keep our mouth shut on that shit for the most part. Because, I mean, the guy, like, doing the math on that shit, granted, he was being a fucking cock, right? But
probably, yeah.
But, like, you can get however much for tampons, but tampons is like using toilet paper, right? The more money you spend, usually the better it's going to be, as opposed to buying, like, one-ply shit that's going to fucking tear your asshole into little bitty pieces. Yeah. And, it's like saying, oh, you're short on money, go buy the one-ply instead of the Charmin. I'm like, no, fuck you. I'll cut back somewhere else, but my butthole's getting treated like a prince.
You buy the Charmin.
Oh, no, that was just an example.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I hate Charmin.
No, it's too too thick. It's too thick and soft. It tears off. If you have a hairy asshole at all, it's just, you're just leaving friends behind.
Well, or like you said, it tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm an Angel Soft guy.
Angel Soft all the way, motherfucker.
That's right.
This is why we're friends.
That's right. Angel Soft.
Well, to me, Angel Soft is the perfect balance between being soft and absorbent, but being strong enough not to get, like, shit fingers.
That's right. Not to get shit fingers, not to get the white dingleberries.
And the dingleberries, yeah.
Right.
The slightly brown dingleberries.
Sure.
Yeah. That's, to me,
green,
like, I
depending on what you
because
ate.
I get the political texts a lot, people canvassing for whatever, and I always reply back something ridiculous. I think the last one was about child prostitution. But I told the last guy, I said, I will vote for whatever party will mandate that companies have to use some type of 2-ply toilet paper in their bathrooms for their employees, period.
Yeah, I would not vote for that party that mandates that.
See, I would not. Like, I don't understand why these big companies that have like, oh, we take care of our employees, we do this. Like, why the fuck don't you spend the extra money and get decent
Clint Eastwood
goddamn
toilet paper in the bathroom?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, I would forego one of the shitty fucking company get-togethers somewhere to get some goddamn decent toilet paper to wipe my asshole. Like, that's
Make us bring our own soap to wash our hands.
right. I'm fine with that. Yeah. But it's like, but fuck, man. Like, I'm going to have to shit here. You know I'm going to have to shit here. You want my morale to be better? Let me look forward to taking that shit.
Don't make me waddle around the rest of the day because my asshole's raw.
Yeah. Because you know that I'm going to sit on taking that shit longer because I'm going to be procrastinating having to wipe my ass with that fucking sandpaper. Fuck that.
Or what if they just installed bidets?
On board, but then they'd have to provide or bring your own towels, I guess. Your booty dries.
Well, they could just put paper towels there instead of toilet paper.
Yeah, that's true. But then you're gonna have assholes that are flushing the fucking
Sure.
You're
right.
Clogging things up. Same thing that women that fucking flush their pads.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same fucking thing. People are just stupid and, I don't want to put that in the trash can.
Yeah, I had a warning / conversation. We moved in this house with the women of this house, which I was only directing it at one woman in this house, but I just said, look, we're on a septic system here. Yes, our sinks drain to the sewage, but for the most part, everything here goes into a septic tank. Nothing can go down the toilets except toilet paper and anything that comes out of your body.
Right.
So.
Well, but the thing is, like, even with city plumbing, you don't flush fucking pads and tampons.
Well,
you
but
wrap
you
and
can.
throw that shit away.
You can.
They're not
it's
made
not
to be
going,
flushed.
I understand that, but I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, they have the water treatment facilities are set up to handle that
because they have to be.
Sure.
But I'm not talking about even the treatment facilities. I'm talking about like neighborhood plumbing, building plumbing, things like that. That shit will clog the fuck because they don't fucking dissolve.
Sure.
It's not like toilet paper that disintegrates as it goes through. That shit just clogs like a fucking fist. Like anybody that never teaches their fucking like females in their family not to flush that shit are the same type of people that teach their sons not to raise the toilet seat. They're fucking shitty people.
Raise the toilet seat at what point?
You raise the toilet seat the time you're standing up to piss. If you're old enough to stand up to piss, you raise the fucking toilet seat every fucking time.
Really?
Yes.
Why? What if you can piss without getting it on the toilet seat?
You can't.
Yeah, I can.
No, there's always the dribble, the part you don't see, the splash up. Like there's shit that you don't notice because it's clear when it comes out, but it dries yellow.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're actively pissing on the seat.
Sure, I understand that. But I also am one, sometimes I raise the seat, sometimes I don't. Right. It really depends.
Because my point being, like, if you're pissing, unless you're
I get what you're saying.
While you're standing over, I'll say while you're standing over, you grab the toilet paper and you hold it over the tip while you pull back. Sure. But
what if you wipe the toilet seat every time you're done?
Okay, fine. But my point being is the people that don't raise the seats are the people that go into public fucking bathrooms and piss all over the goddamn seat. And then I have to take an emergency shit and there's piss all over the fucking toilet seat. Like, I firmly believe the shittiest of people in this world are people that fucking piss on public toilet seats and don't either wipe it up or just raise the fucking seat.
What about people that go in there and just piss on everything on purpose?
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
That's the same category of people.
Yeah, would you be okay with just, if you're caught doing that, just you're dead? Like, you're gone. Death penalty.
I think, or at least jail.
No, because then you're causing the taxpayer.
You're causing the taxpayer money with a death penalty. You know how expensive it is to fucking kill somebody right now?
You know how cheap a bullet is?
Yeah, right. But that's the thing, though. You're talking about working in the current justice system that we have.
I'm not talking about working with the current justice system. I'm talking about justice reform. It's not the current justice system. They don't get put in jail.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm just fucking. There should be sensors in the stall.
Okay.
If you start pissing on stuff on there clearly and you're not facing the toilet, just laser beam, you're done.
See, I think the death's a little harsh. What I do think, though, it should be like mandatory nut kicks. Like, you get caught, you piss on the seat, like, you get punched in the fucking ball sack as hard as you can. And then every time that you get caught pissing on the toilet seat, it adds a fucking ball punch to the fucking punishment.
What if it automatically flushes the toilets next to that and dumps it in on you?
That'd be awesome. I'm fine with that. There has to be punishment that fits the crime.
Oh, I think death fits the crime. If you go in there and you just piss on the roll of toilet paper and everything else, fuck you. You are a waste of space.
Or people that decide to finger paint with their shit in the bathrooms. I've never understood that either. I've been into more bathrooms with cum everywhere than anything else. I mean, it fucking blows my mind.
I don't know that I've ever walked into the bathroom and found.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
You're going to the wrong bathrooms.
I guess. That's
Yeah, dude. I went into one. Like, I've been to a couple where there's some dudes obviously fucking standing and jacking it, and then on the go and maybe miss some on the toilet seat. But I went into one, dude. There was some shit that went down. There was fucking cum everywhere. It was on the seat. It was on the fucking walls. It was on the floor.
I've never had the urge to do that in a public restroom.
Yeah. Yeah, not once.
Not once. Never had the urge to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, just haven't.
Yeah. I think I might have jerked off in a public bathroom once.
I don't think
But
I
I've jerked
have.
off in a lot of places. We've talked about this many times.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But see, weirdly enough, like, I don't know, just, once or twice. But at the same time, like, unmedicated, being fucking manic and shit, like, my hypersexuality is off the fucking chain. So it's like, I've got to get something, I got to do something about this.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's weird.
Is it mansplaining if you're doing it to another man? If a man is doing it to a man?
I don't know, but I feel like the term mansplaining itself goes against everything.
It's
the current, right? It goes against everything that the current societal standards are. Because if gender fluidity is something that we accept, then by labeling something mansplaining, you're basically saying that any other gender association is incapable of dumbing down something and explaining it to somebody else.
I think you make a good point.
Yeah. Because what if you're a man or one and you're in transition to being a female, right? Hormone therapy, the whole nine. You make that transition, so now you're a female. Name change, no genitals. You've had the full fucking transition, but you still over-explain shit to people. Is it then intolerance to say that they're mansplaining?
You pose a good question.
Because to me, going by the logic of the current societal environment,
Sure.
you are then not, if you say they're mansplaining, you are then not respecting their transition and respecting their identified pronouns.
Sure.
But at the same time, then you're also giving them a pass to talk down to somebody else. Yeah. And possibly use what's left of their male privilege to exploit their dominance over someone else.
If only we had a word that could be used when you talk down to someone to explain something. Oh, yeah, it's called condescending.
Oh.
Anyway, I wondered if you could mansplain to a man, because the Pope said we must never forget that natural environment is a collective good. Mm-hmm. The patrimony of all humanity and the responsibility of everyone. So that's what the Pope said. And a guy said, in all due respect, Pope, you must have a different Bible genus 21. Read it. I think maybe there's a misspelling in there. No one can change the environment but God himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's something that I've always found funny too. And this can tie into actually a lot of feminist studies and some other things. But the concept that really comes out of a male-dominated religion that is Christianity, of the assumption that God is a man, because a lot of the verbiage that's used about him in the Bible is masculine terms. But that was the description, because God is a spirit, so he's not man or woman. And you could argue that he has both feminine and masculine energy, depending on like the grace, the love, all that shit is the feminine side. And then the I'm going to beat your fucking ass for being a shithead. We're going to go conquer these guys. That's the masculine part of it. But
you're saying only men can go and conquer things?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just
clarifying.
No, I'm saying that's typically more in a testosterone-filled nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would be in a biological male. But I do find it interesting. Did I talk to you about? No, I didn't tell you about this. So, had this interesting conversation with the lady at work. Not going to mention her name, obviously, but her daughter is currently transitioning into being a man or a male, who's, I think he is just like 15, 16, which usually I wouldn't be for, because I feel like that up to a certain age, you don't have a good concept, and that's an adult decision to make.
Yep.
However, and this actually, it was a cool thought to kind of consider. because this particular her child was born both male and female. Not with both set of genitals, but she was, what do they call it? So
not a true hermaphrodite.
No, but what they called a ghost twin or something like that, where she was a twin and absorbed the other twin in utero. And so she had all feminine features, but all the, so how did she put it?
Physically, wait a minute.
Physically a female.
Physically man? Okay.
No, physically a female, biologically male.
Okay.
So had all the lady parts, but had all the same amount of testosterone, chromosome, all that shit as a male. And so, like, as she's gotten older, she's wanted to make this transition, but she's not having to take hormones and do all this other shit. Yeah. But he's had a really fucking hard time because the teachers here being in the South refuse to recognize some of it, or at least a couple of them don't. They're having some issues. But I found that very interesting because that's the type of shit that Christians will not talk about or consider. Yeah. They just want to harp on, well, you're wanting to make your 10-year-old take hormones and blah, 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 which fine. I get that argument. Sure. But they'll be like, oh, you're fucking, even as an adult, you want to be a man, you're just fucked up and you need Jesus, or you want to be a woman because there's only two. Yeah. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, type of shit. But that type of situation I find super interesting. Because you can't draw a moral line on that, in my opinion. It's not a right or wrong. What do you think?
I agree with you. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I think I agree probably just about all of it. I mean, I'm definitely anti-putting anyone that's not an adult through any hormone therapy, but I'm perfectly fine with if you want to allow your child who was born male to call themselves a female. Right. Why the fuck do I care? Right. Well, it's your fucking family. I don't care. Okay. But I think you do more harm than good in most cases when you start to let them go through hormone therapy or surgery. Oh, absolutely. Or whatever, because they can't make that kind of. They're not allowed to give consent to have sex. Why should they be allowed to do something like that?
Well, my thought too, though, it depends on the age, because like people will let their fucking 8-year-old or 5-year-old decide that they're this or that. I'm like, no, they don't even understand what sexuality is at that point. And so, unless they've been exposed to some really fucked up shit at a younger age, but
they still don't understand.
Yeah, but it can change brain chemistry and the way things are viewed.
Yes, it can definitely do that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, my point being with that though is it's a very interesting thing to me because not a lot of people consider those. And granted, those are more in the minority of cases. But I respect the way this lady's handled it because she's let essentially as this person or as her child has grown to kind of come into their own and make those own decisions. They're 16 now. So there's some concept there of how they feel or what they don't feel. But she's not encouraging the kid to have any surgeries, anything like that. And they told her, told him, it's confusing because she's used both pronouns. But anyway, that has made the conversation like physical alterations or like hormone taken after they're adult, if they feel like that's what they want to do, fine. But right now, whatever they feel like they need to identify as is okay because that's where there's. But I don't know. It was so interesting to me because it wasn't just somebody be like, well, my daughter thinks she might be, feeling very, very, very masculine. So I'm going to go ahead and start fucking putting her on testosterone shots. It's like fucking the kid's fucking 10. What are you doing? Right. And I'm not saying you have to, because there's ways to go about, and you know this as a parent, that you don't have to necessarily take a hard stance for something for your kid and say you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. Kids are impressionable enough, in my opinion, that you can steer them openly without forcing one road or another.
Brainwashing.
Right. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, like, so if you have a kid at fucking 10, 12 years old that's like, hey, I think I'm gay. Like, okay. That doesn't mean you have to push them into wearing fucking dresses, but that also doesn't mean you have to be like, hell no, you're going to play football this year. You'd be like, okay. We can talk about this if you want to, but okay. And you just let them, live their life, and you still love them, support them. And however that ends up, it ends up. But like people have this thing of like, it's almost like a badge of honor now to have this. And it's this.
Oh yeah. If you're a liberal, especially if you're uber liberal, like parent, you're hoping that your child has something like this.
Right. In which I don't at all. And not because I feel any moral sense about it.
Sure.
But especially in the South, like, I don't want my kid to deal with that shit.
Sure.
Like, that's a lot to fucking deal with at a young age.
So what about the people that would then say, and I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would then say, well, why wouldn't you just hope that the South got better and didn't treat them like that, so it wasn't harder on them?
Because it's not gonna.
Yeah.
Not in our lifetime.
Sure.
Like, it'll progressively get that way. And like, I can say, well, I hope
Why can't I hope both?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's...
Sure, I'm just saying, like, I can hope that the South gets better, but still hope that my child doesn't have to deal with the hardships of it. Yeah.
Well, because the fact of the matter is like right now, if like one of your sons or like one of my kids got older and they came out to be gay, it's much more acceptable now than when we were younger.
Oh,
Jesus
absolutely.
Christ. It still sucks in like the South, but Jesus Christ, the leaps and bounds since then have been, for better or for worse, like so different.
So I know I said this a few episodes ago. My wife has been rewatching Dawson's Creek.
Right.
And I think she's in season 5, so they're all in college now or whatever, which I don't remember what year that was. It was either very late 90s or early 2000s. But there's a gay guy on there, and the group of friends or whatever, like, go to a gay bar. Mm-hmm. Yet there's no stereotype in there. It looks like just a bunch of, the actors, the characters in the gay bar look and act as every straight male we know. They just happen to be nothing but men in this bar, so it's a gay bar. It's an interesting thing. And they also were saying retarded on the show.
Of course.
But yeah, and that was just 20 years ago or less.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy to me that shit's 20 years ago. Like, it blows my mind.
Oh, yeah.
We were saying something the other day, and I was like, oh, it's just fucking 2008. And the man was like, yeah, it was fucking 2008. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, it's 12 fucking years ago. I don't know, but I feel like that people look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak, right? For all the bullshit that goes on right now, and because people want, like, all this change right fucking now. Like, this is wrong, this is that. Like, and I get that. But if you can compare it to even fucking a decade ago, there are certain elements of things that are so much better for minorities and for LGBTQ, whatever the fucking, it's gotten so much longer now to be all inclusive. And again, not saying that any of those people get treated awesomely at any given time, but comparatively speaking, it's way better than it was. Sure. And people take that for granted. And it's easy to say that as a white male. I'm like, sitting in my throne of privilege, but but that's when it comes back to me having logical thought and being able to speak on something. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the importance of certain people in the civil rights movement or how those people shouldn't be allowed to do whatever.
Right.
Because that's not me, but I can sit here and say from an unbiased perspective, just looking at how people are treated, that things are markedly better than they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that there's not any more change that needs to happen. It's like, okay, we're good now. We're not hanging black people in the public square, so everything's good. We're all caught up now. I get that, but still, I mean, I can remember my grandfather talking about coming back in port in the World War II area, and then they going gay bashing. They'd come in port and they'd go with a fucking bat and shit, and they'd go find gay people in San Francisco and beat the fuck out of them. I'm like, and he told me that like he was proud of that shit. I'm like, that is fucked up, man.
Yeah,
like just the thought of for any reason, like, let's go find this guy and let's beat the shit out of him just because we don't like him. I mean, what the fuck is that shit? Well, but it's, different time. But I'm saying, like, and granted, violence against gay dudes still happen for sure, but you don't hear of that happening on the reg and people bragging about that shit.
Absolutely. People keep that shit pretty secret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. I'm going to skim through this and give a couple of more. Especially if I find
I'm sorry.
Funny. No, you're fine. Especially if I find it funny, and then we can take a break and come back. We put out I'll go over that in a minute. So this one I thought was funny. This is Jamie. She says, a guy just tried to mansplain to me what a sawhorse is, but I shut him down because I am well aware that it's the past tense of seahorse. Thanks. Funny. I like that.
That's good.
When a guy tells me you're hot, that's mansplaining. Wow. Yeah.
Because you already know.
Right. Let's see here. The German word to mansplain is herklären. It's one of those beautiful moments that the translation improves on the original. So I didn't get that. I wanted to read that because I thought that person was stupid.
Okay.
That's Graham Fallows. Of course, it was a man. Let's see here.
I would like to have, and if anybody, I doubt they do, Jesus Christ, but people that do, if you know any, I would like to have a legitimate feminist activist on the podcast for a conversation, not to be dicks. Like they might get pissed, and I doubt any ever would, but I would love to have a conversation, like a legitimate one.
Okay.
I mean, they'd have to be able to put up with fucking us inappropriately joking for a big part of it, but
Sure.
thick-skinned feminists. Feel free to apply. Men to the front of the line.
Well,
I want all the male feminists to come on and talk to you. They're the only ones I'm comfortable talking to.
That's funny. Please come on and explain what feminism is to us. We've got mansplaining for when a man explains something to you already know, but here's a new one. Dude spute. When a man relentlessly questions your work because he doesn't understand what you're doing.
I like that. What dude sputing?
Let's see here. I am informed that some of you guys are going on dates. Let me get this straight. I'm supposed to risk my life to listen to a stranger explain how I probably haven't heard of the kind of directors he likes, and it turns out he's talking about David Fincher. No thanks.
Oh man, that reminds me. There's this lady that works for our company that is notorious for calling people out for mansplaining shit. Most of the time, deservedly so. But she also will do it when she asks a question because she doesn't know whatever about something. And then if somebody explains it to her, she will then turn around and accuse that person of mansplaining whatever she just fucking asked about because she didn't know. I find that amazing.
Good Lord.
Right? And it's like, hey, can you tell me what we're supposed to do with this? Well, what you're supposed to do is you don't have to mansplain it to me. It's like, okay.
Right. So this one is the tweet is feminism nailed it, and it's a screenshot of a conversation. I think this was just a written out script. Woman, this is a problem for women. Man, no, it isn't. Woman, well, it isn't for most men, but many women. It isn't for most men, but many women face this issue. Man, no, they don't. If it were a real problem, you'd tell someone about it. Well, woman, we're literally telling you right now. Man, but this isn't even an issue. I've never experienced this problem my entire life. Woman, that's because you are a man, and this is an issue that primarily affects women. Man, that's sexist.
That's actually incredibly accurate.
Yes.
Especially here in the South.
Yeah. Oh, God. Let's see here. Where did it go? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say something that I find funny about a lot of this and like legitimately hilarious is it's becoming, it seems to me more and more that people aren't allowed to be layered, right? It's either you're all this, all that. There's no nuance to the type of person you can be, right? So like you can't firmly believe in feminism and have any type of pro-male mindset, right? They don't work. And I'm talking about the general outlook of most people. Like you can't say that men are good at this, this, and this, and the women are good at this and this and this, and still be pro-powerful women. You can't do both of those things. Or you can't have an issue with like looting and rioting in certain cities and still say that you're pro Black Lives. You can't do both of those things. Right. Like there's no, I don't know, there's no layering, or like me talking to the dude earlier, like there's no, well, if you don't do this, then you obviously support all of these things.
Yeah, it's like everything is mutually exclusive.
Right. It's like I'm the most politically apathetic person I know.
Sure.
Like, I shouldn't say that. I'm in the ballpark, and but I can't. So therefore, like because I don't vote, like the guy earlier, I support Trump automatically. I'm like, or I'm a racist. I'm like, what the fuck? They have nothing to do with each other.
Sure.
Like I can condemn this and still not do this, like how often, because when I was fighting the urge to say to a lot of people, it's like, okay, well, when was the last time that you went and you went and bailed one of those black protesters out of jail that got arrested. And when did you throw up some money and bail them out? Like, do they really matter? When's the last time that you said something to somebody when you saw some shit going on? Like, when did you actually like make a physical difference to somebody besides just bitching on the internet? Like we've talked about that with the George Floyd video when it came out. Like, and I get all of the fucking aftermath that came out of that. But the one part of it I never understood watching the fucking video is there's 10 people there. Yeah. Not one of them did shit. And I'm not saying I would have put in a situation. I'd like to think that I would, but the fear of the police, and that speaks against police brutality and all that shit as well.
Sure.
But it also speaks to me of just the natural human cowardice of wanting to be able to speak loudly about something, but not willing to back it up to put yourself in danger. It's like, yeah, I could jump in and do something about this, but I don't want to go to jail or get beaten or possibly killed. Right. And so there's no self-sacrifice. It's like, I will support this and I will scream and I will shout and I will do this stuff. But if I have to physically put myself in any danger to help, nope, I'm out.
Yeah,
and again, I hate to single out that video because I've seen that countless times too. Like, I don't know, the people that are they'll say they're anti-violence, but they'll fucking film a fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why not step in and help? Or people that really talk about they're pro-life. You shouldn't never abort a baby. It's like, then when's the last time you offered to fucking adopt that baby or bring that mom to the house and support that kid? It's like, you're a fucking hypocrite. Like, you'll preach about your fucking moral stance until it's time for you to actually try to do something that's going to inconvenience you. And that's what I love about us is we'll admit that, yeah, I think this is wrong, but I'm not going to do shit about it because I don't care that fucking much because I'm selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I had a voting conversation with a guy the other day, and he was like, same thing. Why don't you vote? Blah, 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 blah. And I told him, he was like, do you not even think it matters in local elections? I was like, I will give you local elections probably matter. I said, but outside of that, no. And I said, but to be perfectly honest, I don't follow local politics enough to make an informed decision, and I'm honest enough to admit that I'm too lazy and selfish to do it. And he was like, right on, man. I appreciate that. I'm like, fucking, there's not many people that can appreciate, because I'll admit that I'm fucking lazy. I don't want to do it.
Well, a wise man once said, greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And it's hard to do. It's easier said than done, for sure. But when you start really digging down into some of the loudest voices, that's all they are fucking really loud voices.
Sure.
There's no go and do, no gumption behind it.
Well, I think this is a good point to go out and take a break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back. We put out a request because our guest canceled that if anyone wanted to tell us how much they hate us or some advice on something to let us know, we'll see if we got anything. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But who knows? See. Maybe we got one or two.
All right.
And then we'll find out about something. We'll find a little bit about how we talk.
Yep. And I also have something.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do think I want to change this camera angle at some point because I look fat as fuck, and I'm not going to do anything to lose weight.
Don't lean back like that.
This is comfortable.
I understand that. What I'm doing is comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're also a fucking douche.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
All
right. Hey, everybody. We'd like to take a minute to tell you about a really cool podcasting app called Stitcher Premium.
Yeah, Stitcher Premium is, like you said, a free app, and they've got everything you could look for: true crime, comedy, pop culture, The Office ladies. I think Conan O'Brien's podcast is on there. There's lots of things on there.
And archives of all those things.
Oh, yeah. And smart lists.
Yeah, the smart lists. That's what I was about to say, you fuck. Smart lists basically will watch what you're listening to, or listen to what you're listening to, use some fancy algorithms, and make recommendations on shit that you already like.
Yeah, so if you go to Stitcher.com/premium and use the code B3F, you can get a month free. So it's $4.99 a month, or $34.99 if you pay for a full year. But use the code B3F and you'll get a free month.
Check it out.
I'm good.
Right? So before
that means you're ready to be done.
No. I'm just getting started, baby. So we often put out requests for people if they need life advice, if they have things that they want to know, they need some help with something, relationship advice, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And we have rarely get a response for this
Almost
shit because
never,
who the fuck wants to interact with us, really? I mean, I don't even like talking to you. But we actually got a question from an anonymous question asker, and I vaguely read this, but I didn't really pay that much attention to what I was reading. So I'm going to read this question, and then we're gonna give somebody some life advice here, and we're just gonna call him. What should we call this person? I don't like anonymous. Betsy. Let's call him Betsy.
Okay.
That's Betsy.
Oh, Betsy. All right.
Okay. So, riddle me this. My ex and I have a son who is a senior. My ex, his new wife, and the whole family. New wife has a daughter who is also a senior. That sounds like some fucking stepbrother, stepsister action that can go on there.
Somebody's getting stuck in a drive.
Are going on a college trip one weekend this month to a couple's cottage that both kids are interested in attending. And I'm so jealous. Should I drive them myself and join them, or go alone on a different day and see the campuses for myself, or make my son go again on a different day with me? It's so awkward. I don't want to inconvenience my son, but I do want to see the college campuses of the places he is considering. What should I do?
Interesting.
Right. So I guess what I'm curious about with this whole, my first question would be, let's see, let me find where this was. So they say they're getting to a couple cottages in Tennessee. What? I think that's supposed to be couples cottages. What the fuck is that? Are going one weekend this month to a couple colleges. I completely misread that word. This is why I don't read things. No, I got it.
Okay. Colleges.
So, this month to a couple colleges in Tennessee that they're both interested in attending. She's so jealous. Should I drive myself and join them, or go alone on a different day and see the campuses? I don't want to make it sound awkward or whatever. So first of all, I don't understand why that would be awkward unless that the ex family is going to be there and doesn't want to be awkward being around them. That's kind of what I'm gathering why that would be awkward. I guess I don't understand what the other daughter that's a senior that's going to see him. I don't understand why that has anything to fucking do with it. But so what do you think?
I mean, I could see where some things could be awkward in that.
Okay,
for sure. Like if you don't have a lot to do with the ex or the ex's new spouse, then I could see that being a little bit awkward. But I think just based on that scenario, like, because I'm one to not let what someone else does really bother me, and I thrive in awkward situations, and that could be awkward or whatever. Like, I love putting people in awkward situations. Okay, and if
see, I feel
go ahead. Let me think.
I feel like what she does is she goes, gets her own room.
Sure.
Lets them go, and she just gets a room for her son and his stepsister, and and they put a camera in, and they make some money. Like that's the obvious way to go.
As long as they're both 18.
Well, yeah. Sure. I'm assuming they're 18.
No, they may be. They may not. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I guess my thought is going up on a separate time and making your son go if they've already been. Or making him change plans. Like I don't know.
Well, is the son going with the others?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Let me read it.
Okay, hold on.
Even if I read it to myself while you talk, I just need to.
I don't know. I think I'm one that, like you said, fuck the awkwardness. You go and you do what you're going to do. Like if you want to go, you fucking go. Because there's nothing that says you have, because the way she worded this is she just wants to see the college campuses herself. So if you want to be there.
Yeah. I when you read it the first time, it sounded as though the ex didn't invite the son.
Right.
And that's why I was more leaning towards, you fucking go and you just make it awkward if it's awkward.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, okay. No, I think it's your kid too. If you want to go to a college visit, I mean, when our oldest went off he was already enrolled. He'd already applied and it got accepted, but college hadn't started, but he went to go do a campus visit. And my wife and I were separated, and I went up there. So, I mean,
I guess I feel like that we're both of the opinion, I think, that life really and shit like this is only as complicated as you make it because you start involving your own feelings, selfish, whatever. But the fact is, if your son's going to see the colleges and you want to fucking go, then go. If you don't, then don't. Like, fuck whoever.
I would also ask the son, though. He's going on a college visit. Just like, if I go, is that going to make it awkward? Because and lay it out. I want to go, but is that going to make it awkward?
Yeah. Well, you could, but at the same time, it's already your fucking kid that you birthed. Sure. Like, you could ask him, but at the same time, they don't have a right to decline the offer unless they're 18 and can be an adult. But at the same time, like if it was my 17-year-old and they're like, I don't want you to come, I'd be like, fucking tough. I'm your dad. I'm taking you.
Well, that would make me go more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I said, the kid's opinion doesn't matter to me at all, unless they're an adult, whatever. Or if they can give me a good reason, like, hey, this is going on. I know the relationship between you guys is bad. Like we can go back at a different time, but I'd appreciate it this time around if you sat this one out. Okay. But if nobody's opinion is being asked, fucking go if you want to go. Doesn't matter. That's my advice. Like, fuck everybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
because that doesn't mean you have to hang out with them the whole fucking time.
But if you're doing a college visit, you are going to be hanging out with them on campus.
Maybe.
No, you will. That's how the college visit goes.
Oh, yeah? You can't just let the kids go and you walk around with your kid the whole time?
I think a lot of that, and sometimes they separate parents from kids and do whatever, but for the most part,
I guess what I'm saying is people put too much stock in awkwardness, like it's a terrible thing.
Sure.
Fucking awkward's awkward,
Right.
Fucking, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like you're being forced to hold hands with both of them and walk through.
Right.
Be uncomfortable, whatever.
I agree.
My whole thing is if you want to go. If you don't. Like, and if you're worried that it might cause a tiff, then fucking be the more adult one and go later. Like, whatever the case may be. Yeah.
I don't know. Go with your kid, and unless they don't want you to go. Then
that's what I'm saying.
Tell them, fine, I'm not paying for any of it. So,
right. I guess that. Well, that plays into it too. Like if you're paying for the fucking college education, then you have more than enough right to impose that. Whatever. I don't know. Let me break this down. Let me mansplain this. Doesn't fucking matter. Do what you want. I don't know. I don't feel like that's much of a quandary. I guess to some people it might be. What do you think? I mean, that's a very odd.
No, I mean, I definitely can see where it could be awkward, but again,
I can think
it's only as awkward as you let it be.
If Jesse was remarried and taking college tours with Lyric, and they happen to be the same age as Eli, and was going to the same, like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to go.
Right.
Like, I don't give a shit. I can be an asshole or not an asshole. However, I'm going to enjoy my time there.
Sure.
However, I don't
think you would enjoy your time there.
Oh, I would not. Right. But I'm going to do what I can to make it as enjoyable as possible.
Right.
Is my point. And also though, and this is where you and I differ as parents. I don't give a shit enough to want to go.
Gotcha.
Like if they wanted me to, like if I'd be like, okay, I'll go with you. But if they're like, I don't really want you to go, I'm like, okay, fucking fine. I don't care.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's a college. It's not like they're, you're touring a prison where they're going to be spending the rest of their life. They're going to fucking school for a while.
Sure.
And in my opinion, like if they have options for college, my opinion on where they want to go to college doesn't fucking matter to me. Like if you're going to school and it's where you want to go to school, fucking go to school there.
Yeah.
Like if they've got the option to go to, say, fucking UT, because they have whatever X, Y, and Z, and then there's an option to go to fucking UCLA, but they want to go to UCLA and I don't have to fucking pay extra for it. Goddamn, go to UCLA. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's your choice. It's your college.
Yeah.
So I guess as much of like, I'd want to go just to be involved in whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as me feeling like I need to see where they're going to go to school, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. I think for the most part, and maybe I'm wrong, but for the most part for parents, it's more along the lines of, to go and experience them going to this campus that they may, based on the way it sounded, what I looked over is like they don't even know that they're going here. It's just some colleges they're interested that they're going to visit the campus,
right?
So
yeah, okay.
I mean, it's the first semester of their senior year, so that so much could change between them.
Yeah, absolutely. So
they could join the military,
and I get it's more of an exciting thing. Like, oh, they might be going to school. I want to go and see where they're thinking about going. Blah 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 blah. And again, I'd go to support if they wanted me to support, but neither here nor there. But I guess like my whole thing is if you want to go. If you don't want to go, don't go. I mean, it's that simple, regardless of anybody else's feelings, opinions, whatever the case may be.
Right.
If you want to go, go. If you don't want to go, don't go. Like, don't worry about the awkwardness. Unless it's going to, like, intentionally, like, cause distress to your kid.
Yeah.
Then go.
Sure.
Or don't. I'm saying make the decision based on what you want to do, factoring in the overall experience for your kid somewhat.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if it's just awkward for you, fucking get the fuck over
Yeah,
it.
you don't own the ex, and you don't owe them anything.
Right. And you don't even owe. Yeah. And like, I get it's your kid, but if you had the kid with your ex, then it's his kid fucking too.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so,
just saying, as far as awkwardness or doing whatever, don't do it based on the ex and their feelings.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Like, you factor your kids thing, because if they're going to have a shitty time and hate it because you're both there, like if you and your ex can't fucking be grown-ups and you're going to just be fucking like embarrassing assholes to each other the whole time,
right,
then be the fucking grown-up and don't go.
Yeah.
But if it's just because it's uncomfortable for you, fucking suck it up and go.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. That's my advice.
Yeah.
You know, pick a road.
No, I think that's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
If your kid wants you to go.
Yeah.
But whatever.
As I said, again, unless you're incapable of being a mature adult around that ex, and it's going to ruin the whole thing for everybody, then fucking don't go. And
tell your kid to listen to us.
Yeah.
So that we can give them tell them to call us.
Call us. We'll talk to them. We'll talk them through it.
Can you imagine if we could get our hands on can you imagine if we could get our advice on like a 17-year-old guy and really direct them on what to do?
Great change of wording. Could you imagine if we got our hands on a 17-year-old?
Yeah. Can you imagine if we could get our advice into a 17-year-old now and go, look, we've been through this.
Yeah.
You're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
Do what we say. Like, play
guitar, get in a van. And do drugs.
Just put a little earpiece in everywhere they go and just be like, don't say that. And now's the time to be an asshole.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll boil it down to that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're capable of being adult, deal with the fucking awkwardness and go.
Yeah.
Otherwise don't. There'll be plenty of other chances.
Sure.
Or not. I don't know. I don't know their life.
Did you smell that?
No.
Smell what? No, that girl. You see that girl that just walked by? Did you smell that? Yeah, that's daddy issues. Go follow her.
Yep. Oh, man.
No, that girl with a great family, great relationship with her parents, leave her alone.
Right.
You marry her later.
Oh, shit. So that was... Okay.
So...
Did you have more of that same fucking thing?
No. I have this other thing that is really more of a time filler. So if you got something else,
I have something legitimate that I pulled up.
Go for it.
So we were talking about this a little earlier, and I was looking something up earlier. I don't remember what the fuck it was, but it pulled me into WikiHow, which is a website that has how-tos for almost anything you can imagine. And I never thought about it before.
17-year-old,
right? Whatever. And I had this epiphany. I was like, you know what? We could get instructions for anything. We should have gotten how to do a podcast. But I picked one out that I thought would be very interesting. And this one's how to talk your wife or girlfriend into oral sex.
All righty.
All right.
Hold on a minute. I gotta take notes.
This is there's 4 different methods listed. I'm not going to go through all 4, but I find it funny that there's spelled out instructions. So method 1 of 4. Approaching the topic respectfully.
Oh my God.
Steps to this are 1, talk broadly about your sexual desires and fantasies together. This can be an awkward conversation to bring up, but it is also lighthearted and fun conversation once you agree not to judge each other. What fantasies or styles do you like? What silly, sexy ideas rev your engines? Remember, this isn't a deep, serious conversation, but it brings up the sort of conventional intimacy that can lead to a discussion for oral sex. Number 2, the next step in this method, slowly ramp up your sexual adventures if oral sex seems too far off. If you feel like oral sex is something you want, but maybe is moving things too quickly, start with smaller adventures. Make a bigger deal of foreplay, which is a safe way to take small risks and learn more about each other. Step 3, check in about your sex lives regularly. If you're a committed relationship and you can't talk about sex and never bring it up, how could you? Whether the conversation is about oral sex or not, checking in with each other about your sex life is important to grow and build a relationship together. In other words, it leads you down the road to where you can get oral sex. So that's method 1.
All right.
Method 2 of 4, talking about her feelings. Step 1.
If you're a real man.
Right. Step 1, state your desires in plain, open terms. Once you're talking about sex, don't try to beat around the bush or subtly get her to bring up oral sex. You need to be upfront if you expect her to be the same. Remember that your sex life is shared, not yours alone, and make this about both of you, not just her. Okay. Step 2, listen to her opinions without comment, giving her the floor. Give her the floor and then 4 more. Hey! Remember, all you can do is say your desires, to be honest about your desires, and she will be about hers. Step 3, remembering that your sex life is shared, not a bargaining chip, which this is most people. Like, I'll do the laundry if you'll suck my dick. But comments or ideas like, I'll do the dishes for a week if you go down on me, aren't going to build the trust and love needed for a happy sex life. That's what I just said.
Sure, but you'd be surprised in how many normal marriages shit like that works.
Right. Step 4, consider why your wife or girlfriend might be put off by oral sex. Oral sex can be scary for some women. Some women can easily feel as their air supply is compromised and they feel like they may gag and choke. Not a problem for either one of us, only Hunter's girlfriends.
Yeah,
she's putting herself in a vulnerable position. It's important for you to understand this. Some women fear hurting their partner or just getting it wrong. Without trust, these activities could result in her having anxiety, helplessness, or discomfort.
Okay.
Step 5, ask her how you can make the experience more pleasant and comfortable for her, other than like washing your fucking dick.
Right.
Number 6, recognize that oral sex is not a one-way street. You want her to lick the pole, you got to lick the slit, man.
There's a such thing as immersion therapy. So, just saying.
I do find it funny though. No, I've known some guys personally that they want their fucking dick in somebody's mouth.
Sure.
But they're not going to lick that vag.
Why?
I don't understand it.
Why wouldn't you?
I know. Some dudes are super like they're not
so much more. You can do so much better with that than you can just straight up sex most of the time.
You speak for yourself, sir.
Well,
you speak for yourself,
saying,
sir.
I think that's a majority agreement.
See, the key is you have to. It's like MMA. You have to have a well-rounded ground game and a well-rounded stand-up game.
I agree with that.
But okay, so method 3 or 4, moving forward together. Try to keep sex fun and light instead of serious and strict. Listen, let her initiate oral sex after your discussion. Don't pressure her on now that you've talked. The picture here is
immersion.
Number 3, incorporate sex slowly into your sex life instead of making it the spotlight.
That's funny.
The pictures are the best part.
The picture is just...
Let her have control of her body, choosing her own speed and style. And then number 5, ask what she enjoyed or what she'd like to try next time after sex. So after you do it, then ask her what she'd like to do more of. Remember, these are extremely intimate acts and may take some time to come out. Number 7, understand that your partner might never enjoy or want to engage in oral sex.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't. There's no way in fuck I'd put a dick in my mouth. Well, I mean, for money, but not for like...
Sure.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm thankful that women want to put their dudes' dicks in their mouths because
absolutely
dicks are fucking gross. I understand the desire to lick a vagina, but I don't understand the concept of putting a big dick that spurts fluid out into your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway, method 4, final method. I hope you're taking notes. There's 4 different methods, right?
I'm taking. Yeah, I've got an audio
method
record.
4 of 4, working on her pleasure. Make the same effort to discuss oral sex as for her as much as yourself.
Yeah. Does she like whipped cream?
Let her lead. Why? Put
a little whipped cream on your dick. That's her pleasure.
Oh my God. That's a fucking pathway to vag for fucking UTIs. I've never understood like the whipped cream in the food thing. It's like you want your wife to get a fucking yeast infection. You throw some fucking whipped cream down there, or honey, or caramel, or chocolate.
But if your wife ever said, "I'll put a little whipped cream on there and lick it off,"
yeah, okay,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Let her lead the discussion, putting her needs first.
banana pudding.
Right? Be honest and upfront about your own desires, concerns, and or holdups. Use oral sex as foreplay to begin learning together. Pay attention to her feedback in the act.
It sounds like there's a lot of mansplaining going on.
There is. Always ask consent before moving forward, especially if you've never tried something before. Ask what her parts she like after you're done. And that's it. So, yeah, I hope you've learned something.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is, for anybody, it's the communication thing, right? Just talking about the shit. But I find it funny how methodical that WikiHow breaks it down for you. Like, and I find the fact they have methods of like, these are the things you do if you want to get some. You want a mouth on your dick? This is how you fucking go about it.
Yeah.
Oh, which I don't understand. Like I said, I fully understand why, but some, I know, like some, like I said, dudes that don't want to go down on girls. I know some girls that don't like having the dudes to go down on them. They're grossed out by it. It's like body conscious or self-conscious, whatever the fuck may be. Yeah, it's a very weird area because it's assumed, especially if you're a porn guy, that like women just love fucking gagging on that cock. But it's not necessarily the case.
I noticed they left that out of there. Like, show her some porn where it's being done so that she can see that it's not that bad.
Right, yeah.
Show her the grapefruit method. Have you ever seen the grapefruit method?
I don't think I have.
I don't need to show you the grapefruit method. We can't put it in the video, but I could actually play the audio and show you and
let's save that. Let's save
people
that.
have you get your reaction. So.
Save that for another time, sir.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to me, like people's aversions to certain things. Like I get if something hurts, like being like, yeah, I don't want to do that shit. I get that for sure. But like I don't know. I've always been game. Like I'll try anything once. Like, if I don't like it, I won't do it again. But goddamn it, I'll try it once. With few exceptions. You know, like, I'm not going to listen to my shit on my chest. Not into the shit thing, because shit's fucking gross.
So even if your spouse just said, look, I think I'm into this.
No.
Really?
No, you're not shitting on me.
Huh.
If we're in the shower, you can piss on me. I'll let that go.
Well, I mean, I think everyone pisses on each other in the shower.
Nah, not necessarily. Not on purpose.
Okay, I get that, but
even though one time I did accidentally pee on Amanda's butt.
I'm just saying that.
Did you ever hear that expression back in the day when somebody was like, dude, I'd pee in her butt?
No, I don't think I
never heard that. Yeah, somebody see a hot girl and be like, dude, I'd totally pee in her butt.
I don't think I ever heard that. I'd pee in her butt. That sounds like something a 14-year-old would say.
I know. But you know, you also have, I don't know, like I said, that whole aversion to trying things, like I've never really understood. Yeah. And like I get like if somebody's like, hey, I want to put something in your butthole, like okay, but you're gonna start with something small. You're not gonna break out the fucking Moroccan thunder right away and try to shove a 9-inch dildo on my butthole.
I get it.
Start with a finger, pinky. Pinky's a good size to start with. You know, and then you go from there. Like I don't know, like if back in the I don't know. I've never been shied away from that, so I don't get people's complete aversion to a lot of the new things. And I get like if you've had some traumatic childhood experience, sure, but just as a whole, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm taking pictures so we never have pictures anymore.
Take the worst angled pictures.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I think you do it on purpose.
I do.
I know. I know.
Hey, at least I took straight on picture of you.
Yeah.
And I didn't go stand over there and take a photo.
Right, that's true. I just notice regularly that you look much better in the photos of you than I do in the photos of me.
When's the last time we took photos?
All the time.
Bullshit.
We're taking a moving photograph right now.
So people can watch the picture show.
We're taking a motion picture. Anyway,
8mm.
So I was trying to help our listeners out there. If you want to know how to get oral, you gotta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's steps. There's methods. WikiHow will change your life.
Yeah.
When was the first time you got a blowjob, sir?
I was probably 17.
Okay. I thought you were going to say 7.
Yeah.
No, I was like, which uncle was that?
Is it child abuse? if you're the one receiving, is it?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I was probably 17.
Okay.
That's probably because I started having sex at 17.
Yeah.
So
you're way ahead of the curve on that. As far as right, us group of friends.
You guys fucking looked up to me.
I didn't look up to you.
Fuck you. Every one of you are like, fuck, he's getting laid.
Well, yeah, that's not looking up to you. That's just being jealous of your dick.
Yeah, it's looking up to me. You guys were looking up to me from that side of things
Okay.
only.
Okay.
I'm not saying in like.
See,
I don't feel
I don't feel like being jealous of somebody is looking up to them though.
Okay.
Yeah, but jealous for sure.
I can remember. I know
because I was married. I waited till I got married to have sex
right,
the first
you did.
time, and it was a terrible mistake
not
on my
because you
part.
wanted to.
No, it was by choice. Yeah,
This is by choice for sure.
Yeah.
But you'd have gladly.
no, I mean I was heavily enough into the church thing. I
just know how guys are.
oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it wouldn't have slipped up or happened, but I'm just saying in my mind, like I had no intention of. How's
Sure,
that?
I agree. I agree with that statement. You had
Right.
no intention, but if she was like, "Hey, I think we should have sex," I think.
I don't know, man, because at that point in my life, when we were dating at that point, like I was pretty heavy into the church and involvement. So I don't know, because you know how like rigid my brain can be over certain things in that regard. So I'm not saying I wouldn't have, but anyway, but it was still, I wish I wouldn't have. It's way overrated to wait. Abstinence does not work, kids, at all.
What do you mean doesn't work?
Doesn't work as far as preventing unwanted pregnancies and all that shit. It's
Wait. How does
the
abstinence?
actually, let me phrase, abstinence teaching. It does not curb any type of sexual activity.
Now, I was going to say.
No, abstinence itself does. Yeah,
that's what I was like.
Yeah. No. Did you know, though, I read this article, I need to find it, that if done correctly, and I'm not talking about any type of surgical procedures, but as far as if done correctly, pulling out is supposedly the most effective form of birth control.
Yeah, the issue with it is that you never know when something's coming out. That's whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not even with that. Like the whole thing is like the problem is though is most people don't pull out soon enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is
because pre-cum's there the whole time. As soon as you start and get going.
Sure, but there's definitely as you progress, there's more of that.
Right.
But yeah, people don't pull out soon enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But I find that interesting because that's something you always are taught that pull out doesn't work. Like no, it does if done correctly.
Yeah, no one knows how to do it correctly.
No.
That's the thing. So.
Well, I think the whole thing with pulling out is you do it way before you're ready to bust, and you finished with the hand or the mouth,
Probably.
You know. But yeah,
I don't know. But
that's why I never got pregnant. I always swallowed.
So let me ask you this then.
Riddle me this.
I guess it's a serious question. What age do you think? And I get that it's different for different people.
Yeah.
But in general, what age do you think people are okay, can handle what all sex brings on and how that affects you mentally and things like
Realistically,
that? Realistically,
20s.
Okay.
Like being able to grasp the scope of all that's involved. Yeah. And most people still don't understand it then, but I think that's probably about the age that you start gathering some clue about the implications and how long it lasts. As far as old enough to choose to have sex, like fucking people are banging, 16, 17 years old. But
sure, but I'm not talking about able to choose to do it. I'm just talking about prepared for that.
Yeah. It depends on how far the preparation you're thinking of, as far as in the mindset of, hey, we could have kids from this and I need to be prepared to possibly raise children, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's not until way later. But as far as just realizing that females get, or even dudes, that the emotional attachment comes along with this, even if it's just casual sex, like you can numb yourself to that shit. But for the most part, there's some intimacy that's exchanged.
Sure, absolutely.
Even if you're banging a hooker and you can walk away thinking, man, she was really pretty. I liked her. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think, probably mid-20s is when that starts actually kind of potentially settling in your brain. What do you think?
I think that's probably right. Yeah. In this day and age, maybe even later than that.
That's
people
what I'm saying.
Are less and less
I would
prepared to handle real world issues.
I would say 50, 60 years ago, though, that would be at the age of like 14 or 15 years old.
Do you think, though, that they really were prepared to handle that?
To a point, yeah. I mean, fucking like...
I understand they got married. Doesn't mean that they were prepared mentally to handle it.
No, I think because emotional and mental maturity was way, way different. I mean, at 14 years old, you could run a fucking household and a farm, and that's not saying you had no childish tendencies, but you were much more prepared to handle all the shit that came along with that.
Okay.
I mean, you still lived with your family half the time and all that shit, but... I mean, yeah. I mean, but I feel like because that's something that we've lost over time is that emotional maturity and the ability to handle shit.
Well, I think because I think because we've learned over time, though, that psychologically that is unhealthy.
I would disagree with that. I think that we've created our own system where that's the case, with a lot of shit because what we tend to do, it's kind of like the John Cleese quote that you read a day, is we've slowly become where everything is catered to
The weakest of society.
Right? And so in having a mental illness or having an issue, like things like, okay, well, these people can't handle this, so we need to be sure that that we take care of them, so everything goes into that. There's not an expectation of, which sounds really shitty nowadays, but to be able, like, there's an element of, like, learn to suck it the fuck up. And there's always exceptions to that rule, but it's that mindset that's gotten us to the point, like in the 60s, the whole Dr. Spock thing and the whole whatever, and the chase your dreams and you can be anything you want to be. And like the evolution of that shit, I feel like we've stunted our fucking kids. And also with, well, did you ever see the Craig Ferguson skit? And I'm not a Craig Ferguson fan, but we talked about the shift from the celebration of age and wisdom to the celebration of youth and stupidity.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But that's so true in so many ways.
Yeah, for sure.
And I get, like, letting a kid be a kid. Like, if you shouldn't have to, like, make your 8-year-old work in a fucking coal mine. Like, I get that. But I feel like that kids could be given a lot more responsibility if held to a higher standard at a much younger age than we give them.
Yeah, but I also think that mentally and psychologically we haven't evolved that much in that span of time. I think that we have, societally we've changed things, and so there's a little bit of that. But I don't, from a mental aspect, I don't think we've really like evolved. We've evolved in what we will accept and not accept, and what we consider normal and not normal, okay and not okay. But
what do you mean by
from an evolution standpoint? Like however many years ago we were cavemen or whatever you want to call it, that type of evolution. Our brains haven't evolved that much over 50 years.
Right.
It's just not how evolution works.
I'm not saying that our brains haven't evolved, but just because the standard now is kids at a certain age have this maturity level, that's nothing to do with evolution.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, if they could handle it then, they could handle it now if you raised them that way.
Yes.
And I don't think that it was a healthy thing for them to go through then or now.
Okay.
I don't think it's a healthy thing for a 14-year-old to be responsible for a family and a household then or now.
Okay.
I just don't think it is a healthy thing mentally.
Okay. Why?
Or even physically. Because your brain's not developed enough at that point. That science backs that up. Your brain's not fully developed till whatever, your early to mid-20s. I mean, so
right.
You can't, and I understand you can raise kids so that they are more prepared for it, but I still don't think you're mentally
right.
We don't.
And 14 is an exaggeration. I mean, mostly girls were getting married off at that age.
Sure.
But most dudes were like 17 when they were on their own doing a family thing or whatever.
Sure, but even that, I don't think you're mentally prepared for that. More so than a 14-year-old. Yeah. But
I don't know, man. Like, because
I think it was just accepted.
But I feel like
there was a lot of the suck it up that you're talking about.
Right. But I feel like
to an extent that's not healthy.
To an extent, but I also think, though, that a lot of scientific research in certain areas, because the whole thing about psychology and any type of behavioral studies, right? Half of it still is completely counterintuitive or contrary to what physical science says. I'm not saying brain development, but I'm saying as far as behavior, as far as mental illness, as far as all this shit, or any other type of things that really get diagnosed from a psychological standpoint, they're at odds because there's no scientific, like physical science to back it up. There is with some, but there's not with all. And I feel like a lot of psychology is a self-fulfilling science, right? It's kind of like a confirmation bias. Like you start seeing this one behavior type and you start seeing it more and you start seeing it more, and then you diagnose that, and then that becomes a crutch to rely on to handle that. And then you start seeing it more and more and more. And the same thing, like you say, oh, we've decided that this, or we've studied and say this type of discipline is bad for kids, right?
Sure.
So people stop doing that, but the behavior in the kids doesn't get fucking better. They're still shitty fucking kids.
Well, yeah, because you have to follow that up with what does work. You can't just stop doing one.
But they don't.
I understand that. No, who doesn't know?
Nobody. Everybody fucks. I mean, we can all agree that like physically abusing a kid is wrong. Like that fucks them up. But I don't know, because there's kids like, and there's all kinds of studies that'll come out that say, hey, spanking your kids does them more harm than good in the long run. Or, this type of discipline works. But the fact is, it's a kid-to-kid basis, really.
Yeah, some of it is kid-to-kid basis, but there's some of it that's pretty much affects all kids. Not exactly the same, pretty close to the same.
Okay, so take that mindset and apply it to how kids have been behaviorally corrected over the years, and tell me how kids are now as far as behavior, attitude, functionality as an adult, comparatively speaking.
Which is why I say that there's not been a replacement for the spanking. Whereas far more and more, less and less kids are being spanked now. But there's not been a replacement for that. And the only reason I know anything about this, and I don't know, is her. Right. This would be a great conversation for you to have with her. But
I guess my whole thing is if you look at, if you strip it all back to cause and effect, right? Yeah. Or action reaction. And if you base the behavior of human beings as adults back to the styles of discipline, people were much more, at least in society, not saying at home and whatever, but were much more functional, agreeable fucking people as adults with that type of background than they are fucking now.
Right, but there's also other things you have to take into consideration, which was how kids were allowed to play with each other. A lot more boys fighting with each other, not angry fighting, but just kids used to just go out in the fucking yard and wrestle.
And even fighting.
Even fighting. I'm just saying just their general getting along playing. I mean, we're,
but a lot of that shit has been discouraged by behavioral analysts.
Sure, but I'm just saying that's not discipline, but that's something that has been taken out as well. But I mean, if you're gonna not spank a child, which if I had to raise my kids over again, I wouldn't spank my kids, but I would replace
at any age.
No, I would only ever spank them when they were doing something that was going to severely physically harm them or someone else. Running out in the middle of a road, as an example. Okay. Yes, but I would also, based on the knowledge that I have now, and the knowledge my wife has, replace that with something else. And people, I could say you ignore the behavior, but that sounds worse than what it really is. It sounds like you're just letting your kid run around and do whatever and acting like it's not happening, and that's not what that really is.
Okay.
But that if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't spank my kids.
Right.
Unless they were fixing to hurt them. They're climbing up on the roof, fixing to throw their sibling off, or running out in the middle of the road.
Okay.
That's, some things you have to associate some pain with.
Okay.
But I think that's much less than we originally thought it was.
Okay, that's fair.
Again, I only know this from talking with
What
my
about
wife.
biting a kid if they bite you first?
No.
No?
No, they're just teaching vengeance at that point.
Nah.
I disagree.
That's fine.
I mean, I only know the things that I know because of talking to.
And I guess I'm not talking
wife.
about consistent things. I just think there's certain elements, and I can think back of lessons that I've learned from physical altercations that I feel like I wouldn't have learned the same way otherwise.
What you do to a kid that bites you, because my wife has had to do this plenty of times in school, is when a kid bites down on you, you grab the back of, and I'm not making a joke, you grab the back of your head and you press your arm into their mouth. And it hurts, but it hurts. It's a different kind of hurt than,
I got you.
than spanking a child or whatever. And that's one of the things that's done to train a kid not to bite.
Right.
But anyway.
I was just asked about that specifically. I don't think I've ever bitten one of my kids back.
No, I know people that have, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know people that, for sure.
No, I had the opposite effect. Like Jude got bad at biting for a while, but it's because some kid was biting him at school all the time and never got in trouble for it.
Learned behavior.
And I said, bite. I told him, bite him the fuck back. He got kicked out of preschool for it, but he actually quit biting after that shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I've always been like, but I can remember distinctly when I was a kid and my mom was fussing at me for something that was down my face, and I spit in her face. Like I was probably maybe 3. Like I was little, like old enough that I probably should know better, but still young enough to be stupid. Sure. And she backhanded the fuck out of me. Like more reactionary than anything, but it busted my
Sure.
fucking nose. And that shit stuck when I was like, okay, you don't spit on people.
Yeah, and I would say that that's one of the big problems with physical discipline is that parents tend to be reactionary.
Right.
And act out of anger.
Right.
And not out of
Which I spanked my
and
kids, but I've
teaching.
never once, we've talked about this, but I've
Sure.
never once done it when I was mad. Never once. And that my mom wasn't mad at because it was more of just a fucking backhand type of shit.
Sure.
But that shit stuck with me, man.
Yeah.
And to me, a lot of and again, I don't know, I'm not a child psychologist, behavior analyst, what the fuck ever. But to me, a lot of it is, depending on how it's done, is learning cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
And boundaries. And when you're a certain age, you don't understand fucking logic. Like, you can't rationalize with a 2-year-old of why something is right or
Right,
wrong.
you can't. But there are plenty of things you can do, which falls under what I was saying about ignore the behavior.
Right.
Is you can't rationalize with them, but you can tell a 2-year-old, I know you want this right now, but I've said no, and I'm not going to talk to you about any of it if you continue to act like this. And then whether you're making them sit there until they've calmed down or whatever, you can still make them, if they decide to get up and walk away, sit back down, but not have any discussion with them. And they learn to cope with some of these things.
Right.
And deal with the emotion that they're having and the outbursts and things like that, and learn that, well, I'm not going to get what I want unless I can calmly. Their mind's not thinking in these types of words, but they are learning and unless I can calmly get across what it is that I want and why or whatever, and they also learn that sometimes you're just not going to get what you want at that moment, and they learn how to deal with that emotion and the outburst of it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. All right.
That's fine. You just look like you had something else to say.
No, I guess depending on, like, I only have ever had like 3 things that I'd spank a kid for anyway. Like, if they're just being shits, I'll put them in the room, sit them down, whatever the case may be. I'm not like a jump off the rails and pop a kid. Like, my 3 things were like, when you get old enough to understand, like, deliberately disobeying me. Like, if I say, hey, don't go in that room, and then you decide, fuck you, I'm going in that room. It's like, okay, there's a consequence to this. And I'm not like a 5 licks across the ass whooping. It's like a pop on the ass and then, okay, go to your room type of thing, just to associate that there's, because I think it's healthy and whatever. I think it's healthy for the kids to be scared of me a little bit. Like, have a healthy fear, like a respect fear.
But respect and fear aren't the same thing, though.
They can be.
Nah.
Yeah.
They can coincide,
but
they're not the same thing.
Fear isn't not that I'm scared of my dad, but knowing that fear, like even now, like even as an 18, 19-year-old kid, knowing that if I fucked up, my dad could beat the shit out of me if he wanted to. I knew he wouldn't, but I knew he could.
Sure.
And so that little bit of fear fucking kept my ass in line a lot.
Yeah, you can be fear of what they're capable of, but I don't. There's a line. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. Fearing what they're capable of. No, that's not what I'm trying. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I can't explain it, and if I do, I'm not going to say what I'm trying to say. So.
Right. No, I got you. But I mean, it doesn't just be like a fear that they're going to fucking spank me, not that type of fear, but just a fear of knowing that, hey, if I fuck up, dad means fucking business, and he's going to do what he said he's going to do. So, like, I'm scared of that consequence, so I'm not going to fucking do it.
Why scared, though? Why scared of it? I don't know. That just doesn't sound right. Not right as in right and wrong.
Well, just because you don't like the feel of fear and parenting being in the same.
No, it's. I mean, I'm sure that's part of
Eli, my 17-year-old. He told me, he's like, dude, I'm still scared of you. I'm like, yeah, you should be. I love the fucking.
Yeah, but I don't think he means it the way you're talking, though.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I just don't think he does.
Okay,
that's fine. I think he means it more along. It's a bit playful, but I think it's more along the lines of, if we decided we were going to fight, I know you could beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And so that's not the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're talking about disobeying someone and being afraid of what may happen or fearful of what they could do.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Those are not the same two things.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's what it sounded like.
No, not a fear, but knowing that I follow through, that it's not just an empty thing, that like a fear of knowing that there's a consequence for what they do, that I'm not just going to, guys, I'm counting to 3. Guys, I'm counting to 3. Like, no, it's like, no, fuck, Dad's going to beat my ass if I do the wrong, if I do what I'm not supposed to fucking do.
And see, that doesn't fall, like I never once would think of that as fear.
Okay.
I never have thought of that as fear until you just said that, and I still don't.
It's a type of fear.
I don't think of it that way. I think of it as respect and a desire to not have the consequence. But I don't think of it as fear at all.
Okay. I look at it as a fear of consequence, I guess I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I guess
maybe we're saying the same thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I know. I just feel like that being the type of parent that I follow through, like, so I don't give warning shots for the most part. Like, I don't tell them 5 fucking times to do something. Like, if I say it once, they know at this point that I mean it. And then if they fucking do that shit again, it's game over. Like, whatever punishment. And I always follow through with, like, if you do this again, you're in your room the rest of the fucking night. Like, one time.
Yeah.
And then they do it, they're in the room the rest of the night.
Yeah, they do have to understand that you cannot threaten a kid with something you're not willing to do.
Right, absolutely.
For sure.
Well, we had the last time because Jude was really bad about leaving the lights on. And I was like, dude, like, you're going to have to stand there for a minute with your hand on the light switch. Next time you forget. And I said, if you forget that time, it goes to 5 minutes. If you forget next time, it goes to 20 minutes. Dude, an hour was the last time he stood there for a fucking hour with his hand on a light switch.
At least from a ratio perspective, you're consistent.
Yeah. No, I bumped it up like
incrementally.
And like his mom called me. I was like, he's like, should I call Jude? I was like, well, I'll hold the phone for him. Like, he's standing in the bathroom with his hand on a light switch. And she was like, how long does he have to stand there? I said, an hour. And she said, that is ridiculous. Why would you even do that? I was like, because I told him I would.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, it's like, I'm also a big believer in the punishment has to fit the crime.
Okay.
Right? Like, as they get older, like if, let me think of a good example. Like if Eli lost his temper one time and he broke a video game controller, like when he was younger. And so he lost his fucking video game for like 3 months, you know, because he had to buy a new controller. It was both. And because it was completely correlated with what he did, or I think there's another time I don't remember what he did. He did some shit. But anyway, but the punishment was specifically correlated as a reminder that this is what you fucked up on. And so this is the privilege. This is what you're losing.
Sure.
Type of shit. And Eli had a lot of anger shit. That's a lot of what we dealt with him. His losing his temper and doing shit.
Sure.
But like the light switch thing, like you're not turning the lights on and off. So this is your consequences going to deal with, you know, the fucking lights. Lyric was really bad about, or I should say one time when the kids were little, this is a good example. So Lyric and her cousin were jumping on the trampoline and wouldn't let Jude up to jump because he was short and he couldn't get up there. And he kept trying to get up and they'd jump right when he was trying to get on and he wouldn't let him on the trampoline. And we'd already told him they had to share the fucking trampoline, something stupid. But they were being bullies. They were being fucking little cunts. And
well, they're being older siblings.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
were.
Older siblings
Well,
do.
it's a cousin, but they used to be mean. Like the gang
Sure,
up to
no,
the
I
mean
get
time,
you.
not just the picking. Anyway, and that was fine. Like I let them pick on each other, whatever, their siblings. But at some point, it's like, okay, guys, like yeah, let them up to jump anyway. And they wouldn't. They didn't listen to me. And because I walked back inside, I was like, guys, let them on the trampoline. Walk back in. Looked out, and they were still doing it. I was like, okay, you guys get off. Jude, you get to jump. And they were like, okay. And they went to rough. I was like, no, you guys are going to sit here and watch him jump. So I made him sit there and watch him jump on the trampoline for a good 10 or 15 minutes. Like, we want to jump on the trampoline now. I was like, well, you have to ask Jude's permission to get up on the trampoline now because you guys were being jerks. Like, I don't want to ask him. And I was like, no. They said, Jude, you jump on the trampoline? And I was like, no, you're going to say please. And you're going to ask him nicely to jump on the trampoline. Of course, Jude was little. He's always been like the sweet one. He was like, yeah, okay. But like that's the type of shit that I believe in doing, like making it pertinent to whatever they fucked up with.
Sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. But that's still one of my favorite memories is watching them, like their faces just like distraught having to watch their little brother jump on the trampoline.
Oh, God.
Oh, you know. But I'm a terrible parent, so, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Devil worshippers.
Right? No, but I mean, honestly, I don't think I've spanked my kids it's been, I think the last whooping either one of them got, they were like 5. Like they were young.
Whooping. Such a southern thing.
Well, because to me, though, as soon as they're able to start like understanding logic and conversation, it's a different thing.
Sure.
But really up until then, they're like fucking dogs. Like they don't understand, right? They just understand yes and no consequences.
Well, I had an article to go through, but it'll take us a while. So,
do you ever let your kids fail at things and watch and enjoy it?
Yeah, I may ahead of time or while I'm watching it going, I could help you. I can show you how the correct way to do this or whatever. And if they don't accept.
Well, I mean, even something that could hurt them.
It depends. Depends on how bad it could hurt.
So, I mean, when Lyric was little, she was running on the back porch and it was always slick. I said, Lyric, you got to quit running on the porch, sweetie. You're going to fall. She kept on. I said, okay. I said, but when you fall, I'm going to laugh. That's what I told her. And she said, she went running and she slipped and she slid on her little naked stomach, probably fucking 8 feet.
Yeah.
And she ran over to me and I was like, I told you you're going to fall. Daddy. And I still held her and shit, but I was, she didn't run on the porch anymore.
Yeah, some things like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the only exception I think I've really made to that is I told her, because at home, I never let them jump on the couch. I don't let them fucking run in the house, like all that shit. Like they can do all that outside, run, jump, climb, play, scream. House is like, you're going to treat house like respect. That's how I look at it.
Sure.
Anyway, but we were at my parents' house and they have no rules because my their grandparents. And so Lyric was jumping on the couch and they had a hardwood floor. I was like, sweetie, quit jumping on the couch. You're going to fall. And they were like, oh, she's fine. She's fine. And I was like, all right. And I watched her and she jumped, dude, and she bounced backwards and was like fucking head first and towards the fucking solid wood floor. And I dove and I caught her fucking face in my hand, like an inch above the floor, threw my goddamn back out. I was so mad. I was like, I told you not to jump off the couch.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
I do distinctly remember, I think it was Matthew when he was little, us being at your house and you laying on the floor and throwing him off, bouncing him off the back of your couch and catching him. That was awesome.
Yeah. Never mind. I was fixing to say something. I'm not going to say that.
That's why.
Because I'm just not going to.
Okay. Krista doesn't listen anyway.
You're right. She doesn't. You're right. Yeah. She doesn't.
Jessie gets super mad at me even now for shit I'll do with the kids that she won't do. But whatever.
My wife thinks that stunted him when he was young.
Yeah. Probably.
So, I mean, I used to grab them by their ankles.
Yeah, sling them around.
And spin in a circle, but then I would just helicopter them around my head.
Right.
And things like that. And I would, like you said, bounce him off the couch. My brother and I used to sit in the living room and throw him across the room to each other. And
yeah, that's the shit you do with kids.
Yeah.
It's fun. There's I'm trying to remember which page it's on. There's a few I follow on Instagram. One is kids getting hurt, which is fantastic. It's just fucking kids getting hurt all the time, as it says. One is poor parenting, and it's just, really people just being shitty parents, videos, whatever.
Basically, you're saying you are watching videos of abuse.
No, not abuse.
All right.
No. Like I'm talking on the poor parenting page?
Well, any of it, really.
No, the kids getting hurt is like a kid will be walking and like when the dog comes barreling through and just fucking crushes a kid.
Gotcha.
Like that type of shit. Not people hurting kids.
No, I understand that.
And then, and then poor parenting is stuff like, you'll see people with their kids like on a fucking scooter, like going down like 20 miles an hour. It's like, that type of shit. But anyway, they had one, and I think they call it like the Baby Olympics or some shit. And it was people submitting pictures of them throwing their kids up in the air and catching them. And like they had a height measurement contest per ratio. It was fucking insane how high people were throwing their fucking babies.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's not good for a child's head when they're babies.
No, I'm not talking about infant. I'm talking about like, 1, 2 years old, like enough where they're holding their head up, standing, walking.
Still, there's a certain distance.
What's the distance? You never threw your kids up in the air?
Yeah. I have tossed my kids up in the air, sure.
Yeah.
But when you just said it's insane how high some of these
it was.
Yeah. There's a certain distance that when that baby comes down to earth and you catch it and it stops, the brain keeps moving some. And at a certain age, it's okay.
I don't know how old these kids were.
Well, you said 1 or 2.
They might have been past the age. I was just guessing because of how high they were getting thrown. They had to have been small. No, I swear to God, dude, one of the guys had to have had the kid 12 feet in the air. It was incredible. I was like mesmerized by the height of these baby throws.
First of all, I don't understand how you throw a kid that high.
I don't either.
I don't know that I could throw a kid through a basketball. I don't know that I could do that. That's only 10 feet.
Yeah.
You add another 2 feet to that.
Yeah, it was fucking insane how high some of these babies were getting thrown.
Jesus Christ. Good God. Oh my God.
Are you tired of me tonight, buddy?
No,
you
I'm
seem
not.
Like you're ready to
not.
wrap down. You're trying to avoid an instance of last episode where we just rambled for 15 or 20 minutes.
Yes, and I feel like we were already doing that.
Why?
Because we are already doing
We talked about baby raising, baby throwing, the maturity of children in America.
Sure, but now we're just finding other shit.
We gave life advice. What else do we do on this goddamn podcast?
Sometimes we stick to things. Sometimes.
The only thing we've stuck with is in a year and a half is each other. That's been it. It's the only thing we've stuck with.
Yeah, sure.
I am sad though because I actually got a release sign for our guest tonight for a change that didn't work out.
Well,
but I think he's going to try to come back on at a different time though. We can get that worked out, but pending. I am excited to use his product though. Sent me some. I get the tattoo finished on Monday.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So I get the ex-wife likeness completely.
How long is this next session?
4 or 5 hours somewhere there.
And so what time are you going over there? Because you typically don't get off work till like 7 o'clock.
It's Columbus Day, bitch.
Oh, see, we're open on Columbus Day. So.
Oh yeah, so now we're closed. Oh. So I got Monday off.
You guys want to celebrate the massacre and infection of indigenous
I
people?
celebrate being off from work. That's what I celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. See yeah. This is why I don't vote.
Yeah.
I like it. It always harkens back to me, and this isn't. I've had people accuse me of just this is why, but it's really just when I saw it for the first time, it was kind of like this really weird reinforcement of my already stupid belief about voting. Is that George Carlin bit about why he doesn't vote?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that kind of summarizes a lot of how I feel about this.
Sure.
But I like that when saying, well, you assholes are out voting, I'll be at home jerking off. Like, yeah, that's about right. But, talking about that, this is the last time you're ready to wind shit down.
Go ahead.
No, that brought me back to what we were talking about earlier with that dude that got all bitchy about me saying I don't vote. And I don't understand where that anger comes from. I do, because it's fucking petty shit. But like Amanda and I, right? She's much more politically minded than I am. She's going to vote if she hasn't. She just changed the address because it was the wrong precinct, whatever. A lot more involved, follows that shit around. Like she votes, she's a lot more vocal with that stuff. And like I'm super apathetic with all of it. But like it's never an issue in the marriage.
Sure.
And so I don't understand why. I guess I do. I mean, societally, whatever, but I don't understand quite why it's such a big deal to people to have an opposing viewpoint. I mean, I don't. I just don't understand it. I mean, maybe you have better insight on me than that because I'm very don't give a shit about a lot of things. But like, and I'd like to have a younger. Like that's why I'd like to have like Olivia on or even Gabe next time he's on. Like a question I'd like to ask is like, why are people, like, especially younger folks, why do they get so fucking turned up about differing opinions that they feel like it's a personal attack against them?
I think.
And for him, I feel like it was a virtue signaling thing as well, because this motherfucker is a white male who's been bitching he's been bitching for a month now that he can't get a job, and he's working at Whole Foods right now and is complaining that they don't pay enough, and this is why we need a higher minimum wage. It's, like, fucking, you're a white asshole. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're getting offended on behalf of people that you're not a part of.
Yeah, you can't be offended for someone.
Yeah.
That's racist.
Right. Well, essentially, because I don't care about other people is why I'm not voting, which is the exact opposite.
Oh, you're not voting because you do care about people?
I'm not voting because I don't give a shit about anything.
Okay. So it's not the opposite.
Well, kind of, I guess.
Because you made it sound like you don't vote because you care about people.
Kind of. I guess in a weird way.
You don't vote because you don't care.
Right, I don't because I don't care about the political thing because I don't think it matters.
Sure.
And I feel like that.
So how does you not voting help people?
Me not voting helps people. I guess it doesn't help people. Thinking about it, it really doesn't. Helps me because I don't care.
Sure.
But I don't know, like.
I don't think me voting helps people, and I don't think that my vote counts.
No.
I think that my vote is tallied, and I think that we see,
numbers.
For the most part, real numbers, but I don't think that it like, decides who is president.
To me, it's just as realistic as thinking that you're voting on American Idol, chooses the winner of the season.
Yeah, sure.
But I had a reason, like I had a specific reason I worded things that way, and I completely lost it. But
Okay.
anyway, I don't know. But I'd like to explain why there's such offense to that for somebody that maybe gets offended that way. But I guess people that get offended that way aren't going to fucking talk to us about it.
Well, young people, and I don't know how old this guy is, but young people have put their life, they live in an echo chamber.
Right.
They don't have friends with opposing viewpoints on serious things.
Mm-hmm.
They may disagree on who the best Avenger is, but I'm saying like
Paul Rudd.
Most younger people will not be friends with someone that votes differently than them.
Which blows my fucking mind.
But especially if you are anti-Republican,
right,
you're less likely to have a Republican friend than a Republican young person is to have a Democratic friend. You're less likely. Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of the young people that vote Republican.
Yeah, I think it depends on how Republican.
Either.
You know what I mean? Like if you drink the Kool-Aid Republican, then no. But if you're just like policy-wise Republican,
I don't know.
Then, yeah.
See, I know a handful of drink the Kool-Aid Republicans that are perfectly fine with you disagreeing with them. They think you're an idiot, but they're perfectly fine with hanging out with you and being friends or whatever. They just think you're an idiot. Yeah, you just don't talk politics.
Right.
But it's not to say that they're all that way.
Right.
But it's definitely the young people that lean left are definitely far more vocal and far less likely.
But I feel like it's filtered to like weirdly filtered up to even like older people now that are.
It's getting that way for sure.
It's fucking insanity. It's fucking insanity.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I could be cordial on somebody's whatever and they're going to get that pissed. And what gets me not offended by it, I just find it hilarious, which I don't understand. And I see this on both fucking sides, is like if you support Trump or even like for me, I'm not voting. So I'm automatically a racist because I'm aligning myself with President Trump by not voting against him.
Sure.
And then vice versa. Like if you're a Democrat and I'm going to vote for Biden, then suddenly you're a fucking socialist that wants to see America overturned.
Right.
And I've heard that from Republicans when I don't vote. Like, well, you're just going to let socialism take over America. I was like, well, I guess I'm fucked either way then, guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is interesting because then if I were in your situation, then I would be going back to those people, especially if I knew them or around them after Trump won the election. I go, you said me not voting was giving the country to Hillary. What
right?
the hell happened?
Well, but see, when then that's going to happen is like, well, we won in spite of you. We persevered without your help.
Well, I'm glad I was able to drive you to that.
Well, my favorite thing that's come out though over all this is when people have said, well, it's like just imagine if people, whatever, like in Germany would have spoke up with the Nazi Party. You know, the silence is compliance. You know, the people that didn't say anything were just as guilty of the Holocaust as.
I disagree with
it. Yeah, absolutely disagree with it. Yeah, but whatever. Like the world is goddamned insanity right now.
Oh yeah,
and it's getting worse. It's not getting better, and I love it. I love it so much. Like, it's frustrating from a standpoint of somebody that's logical and likes to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
But from somebody that just enjoys a fucking train wreck, oh my God, it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm glad that my wife and I line up on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But then there's a couple of things here and there that we don't. Yeah. And we can get heated if we really get into it about it because she's very passionate about the way she feels about it, and I am as well. But it's just one of those things you know where your buttons are and you know how to.
Right.
How to catch.
Being a grown-up.
Sure, but I'm saying you know how to catch ahead of time that, it feels like this is fixing to start getting heated.
Right.
Remember how when I said you broke this pin, you're like, I don't do shit like that.
This one was already broken when I picked it up.
It wasn't broken. It was twisted up.
This part wasn't broken. This part was already broken.
Sure, that was, but you've broken the clip of it.
It was already broken.
Yeah.
So can't break what's already broke.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm anxious to see. Like, I fear for my kids. Like, I hate that they have to grow up in this bullshit, but I also enjoy the de-evolution of fucking society in front of me, the unraveling of the fucking free world.
Yeah, it's a sick enjoyment, but yeah.
But also, people can't be honest with themselves either, because if they're honest with themselves, then suddenly they realize they're not as virtuous as they think they are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with this dude.
They can't come to grips with who they really are.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like this guy's saying, well, like, you're a white piece of shit racist, blah, blah. I was like, dude, you're fucking white, and your entire job that you're pursuing is as a digital marketing representative in the fucking craft brewing industry.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much fucking whiter than that. And then you're crying that these larger companies that you feel like you deserve a job from aren't giving you a job. Like, that's the complete opposite of everything you're yelling at me right now. And like, I'll admit, part of the reason I don't vote, other than thinking it generally doesn't work, but if there's an inkling that it might and something was directly affecting me, then I'd be much more likely to at least consider voting.
Sure.
But I'm selfish. I'll admit that I'm selfish. Until things affect me directly, I'm probably not going to get that involved with them. But if I see some shit going down in front of me that I think is wrong, like, I'm going to step in and do what I need to do. And to me, that's how you would affect actual fucking change in the world. Is if everybody, when they saw some bullshit happening, spoke up and stopped doing the bullshit instead of flipping out their fucking phone and throwing it on TikTok or whatever goddamn thing they want.
Sure.
Things would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, especially like if a white dude, and I'm going to use race for this one, but like, you get a white motherfucker that sees some black dude being fucking harassed by a cop, instead of just walking by and be like, oh, I don't know, he's probably resisting, whatever, to actually fucking say something and be willing to put your ass on the line a little bit. Fucking, that's how shit gets better. Like, that type of shit. That's the only reason why the riots and shit were making some change in some of the stuff, because people were listening to people doing things, not writing shit on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But anyway, if people would like, I mean, I've been kicked out of places for fucking sticking up for folks, and it's all been stupid small stuff, but I've called people out just for being, like, at a Starbucks, I got kicked out for some dude who's being an asshole to one of the girls there. I was like, you're being a fucking, I was a lady there. I was like, you're being a bitch. And she looked at me and said, you're being a bitch to this girl. They're trying to help you, whatever. And I got asked to leave then, which was fine. But, and then I think I've told you I got kicked out of a VA hospital cafeteria. Some uniformed, dude, there's some uniformed officer in there. Like, I think it was like Captain Commander. He was like an 06, like a higher ranking guy. Mm-hmm. And most officers that I've met are fucking assholes, especially because they're used to having their dick sucked by everyone, because that's how the military works. Well, there was some young girl, a civilian, obviously, probably 16, 17, working at this cafeteria, and she had or cafe, whatever the fuck it was. Anyway, she had fucked something up, and he was just unloading, like, just being a dick. And I was like, hey, asshole. And I was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? He looked at me really funny. I was like, she's 17 goddamn years old. I was like, you're at a fucking VA cafeteria. What the fuck are you thinking? He was like, well, who the fuck are you? I was like, I'm the guy telling you you're being a fucking asshole right now. You need to tone it down a little bit. And he's like, I need your name, blah, blah. Anyway, he got me kicked out of that fucking VA cafeteria. They came up, and I was like, the guy's being an asshole. And they're like, well, blah, we're sorry, mister, whatever the fucking guy's name was. And they kicked my ass out. And I was like, but that girl, she mouthed, thank you, when I was walking out. And I was like, because somebody's got to say something to those people. Yeah. And that doesn't make me a fucking hero. Like, I'm a piece of shit, and I'm going to ignore most of the things, but I can't abide by that shit if it's right in fucking front of me. Yeah. I don't know. That's just how I is. That's what I do.
I mean, I feel like I would do the same thing, or people should be doing that. It's interesting, though, how many young people that say they want people to do something like that would be extremely uncomfortable and embarrassed if you did something like that. If they were around and you did that. Yeah.
Well, people are so scared of consequence.
And
appearance.
And conflict as well. I mean, they don't like confrontation.
Yeah. Which I don't understand. Like, I'm not a fan of confrontation, but I'm not going to shy away from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, people don't want to, they don't want to put themselves, and I guess, too, I think some of modern social media plays into that, though, because, like, if they are judged as being a certain way, like, they're going to lose friends. People are going to come after them. You don't fucking know what's going on. Like, it's just a very weird time to be that person. They don't want to end up as a fucking meme.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you started getting death threats, like, over this podcast, like, how would you respond to that shit?
How would I respond to death threats? Here's my address, asshole. Come on.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't, because then I'm endangering my family. Yeah. But no, I mean, if I got death threats, I'd probably laugh it off. It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's just like somebody blocking you on social media. Like, it's fucking funny. Yeah. Really. You really can't handle hearing my opinion so much that you have to silence me. In your world, I'm silenced.
Right.
Yeah, well. Way to go, Hitler.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I heard that.
Well, that's about all I got, man. I want to keep ranting on this, but now that we've hit this, we're like 2 hours in, so I'm going to park that shit for now.
And we'll never hear about it again.
No, we will, because I want to have some fucking people that actually are actually educated in politics. I want to get some people on to see if they'll talk with us. Okay. I want to see. I don't think it'll happen, but I want to see.
So if you're a poli-sci major out there and you want to come,
well, I know about politics in theory. I would love, like, there's so many people I would love to get on here, even if they would come on anonymously.
Yeah.
Like, I would be fine with that. Like, we've talked about this. I'd like to get a fucking psychiatrist on or some type of doctor. Doesn't care. They don't have to talk about the practice. Just be anonymous. That's fine. I'd like to get a police officer on here to talk about some of this shit. They could come on anonymously because I get you can't be associated with certain things. So, like, if you know anybody like that and want to come on, like, we don't have to say who you are. We don't talk about our fucking jobs on here, you know. I don't know. I think some, like, political folks would be pretty sweet. I was looking up the other day about the, like, Knoxville Democratic Party, and there's probably going to get some representatives from those guys on here. I think that'd be fun as shit, man. It would never happen.
Sure.
But
so, speaking of, you made me think about this, and then, so I'll say this, but, so my work phone, like, work gives me a cell phone, and I get these text messages from Wisconsin Democrats, and they think my name's Joshua.
Okay.
I don't know who Joshua is, regardless. But when I first started getting it, like, I just would text them back, like, not Joshua, you got the wrong number, whatever. And they continued, never respond to that, but they continued to text. So then I just started trolling them.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I was talking about.
Just like troll them is just like, well, you know, whatever. I think I'm actually gonna vote Trump this year. Blah blah, and just throw some asinine shit out there, and just to get the response. And then they start texting me back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sick of it now at this point because it's every day I'm getting these messages now.
Right.
It used to be once every 3 weeks or so. Now it's every morning when I turn my phone on. I got a new message, and I texted back the other day and said, "I'm not Joshua. Please don't text me. If you text me again, I'm voting for Trump." If you text me again, I'm voting for Trump. I sent that to 3 different numbers, said 3 different numbers. And 2 of them text me back. One texted me back and said, sorry. And the other one texted me back and said, we've removed you from our list. And I text both of them back and said, I told you not to text me. I have no choice. I have no choice but to vote for Trump now.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, I get the same, but I find a lot of them do a blanket, like they send a text to be like, hey, is this like Anthony, blah,
Sure.
blah, blah. And so when you text them back, like, oh, I'm not Anthony. Like, oh, well, can we still blah, blah. It's just an opening thing. Like I get that a lot for all kinds of people. And I talk to them, but I always, proposition like, if you can legalize prostitution or if, you can allow me to get my hands on.
Yeah, I can't do that for my work phone just in case.
I do it from my work phone. Yeah. I do it from all my phones.
Yeah. Well, you also work for a company that encourages drug abuse and
they don't encourage drug abuse and alcoholism at work. We're allowed to drink at work. You can't do drugs at work.
No, but they do encourage.
I encourage doing drugs at work.
No, I didn't say they encourage doing drugs at work. So they encourage drug abuse.
No. They don't encourage drug abuse.
Okay.
What do you okay, come on, clarify.
I mean, you've talked before about
they don't dissuade people if they want to smoke weed at whatever, but not at work.
I didn't say at work.
Yeah, but that's not abuse. If you want to smoke weed, that's not fucking being a drug abuser.
It depends on how much of it you're smoking.
I don't think I think the only time something becomes abusive is if it gets to the point where it's affecting the rest of your life.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with that statement.
Yeah. But they don't encourage it.
All right.
But,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good place to work.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah. I can get you a job.
Could you?
Maybe.
Making the kind of money you make?
Close.
I don't know fuck all about what you do.
No,
we're
about to put out a possible position for a warehouse materials manager.
Okay, I would be interested. I would interview for that. I got it, but
we'll talk offline about.
Yeah, I was going to say, understand how much I'm going to have to make more than I make now because of the benefits I'm giving up.
I got you.
So
I got you, which would be a lot because of a lot. You get a lot of fringe benefits, way more than I do probably.
Sure, but I also pay for those benefits as well. There are benefits, but I do pay for them.
Right. Yeah.
So,
all right.
But anyway.
All right, dude. Well, until next week, we got a guest next week, right? You're done?
No, I'm just going to do that to you because you've done it to me so many times. Here, sit back down. Here we go.
No, leave it.
No, it's good. No.
You're an asshole.
No, I just want to do that to you because you've done it to me so many times. All right, we got a guest next week. As of right now, if they don't cancel, man named Trevor Jackson.
Yep.
Has a podcast, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know the name of it right now. It's a Trevor Jackson podcast. I think I subscribe to it on Spotify, but I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. But then he does another one with a guy called Two Brothers from Sea Hills.
Right, which they don't want to have anything to do with us.
Well, no, he does.
He does. I'm saying,
but
but
his
them
partner
as a
doesn't
right.
want us on.
And I want to know why so bad.
I do too. We'll have to ask him.
Like, I'm okay.
He doesn't want us on, and he doesn't want to come on ours.
Right. So obviously there's something there, but I have my theories, but I'm curious. I'm curious to know.
Yeah.
So, and he may not want to talk about it, but if he does, we'll talk about it.
It's fine.
All right.
All right. Till next time.
That was bravo. Well played.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.